don't mean anything, but thanks for listening. Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 140 of We Say Things. Sunsfan here with Mr. Cinderman. This episode is sponsored by our friends at Manscaped. Can I get a round of applause for everyone? I'm excited to announce today that Manscaped has launched their Ultra Premium Collection. Believe it or not, it's for your not-so-private parts. I'm talking about a leveled-up hygiene routine with your favorite manly scent, Cinderin. This is an all-in-one skin and hair kit for the everyday man and covers you from head to toe, literally. Manscaped is trusted below the waist. Now trust them with the rest. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com. If you want 20% off and free shipping, insert the code We Say Things. You know, actually, now that I read this, I don't know what this is even in reference to because they haven't sent me anything. But they have sent me a lot of other stuff because this here is deodorant.
That's true.
We have body wash. We have shampoo. We have literally lip balm. They're doing every product now, Cinder. It's not just about the testicles, even though the testicles are quite important. They have basically everything you'd ever need, especially with people like us that travel all the time. So thank you to Manscaped. So as always, guys, if you go to manscaped.com, insert the code We Say Things, you'll get 20% off and free shipping. So
I'm looking up the Ultra Premium kit right now.
Okay.
It contains deodorant, body spray, body wash, shampoo and conditioner, and the lip balm.
Okay, I have it all then. Excellent.
It's a collection with some new stuff, I think.
Good stuff.
I don't know if you have the exact version, but you probably have something at least similar. And you like it.
It all smells good. It all smells really good. Unlike Cinderin. So
infused with our signature refined scent. And refined is TM. How can you own refined as a trademark? That's insane.
Wow, they're just that good, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, it would make more sense if they copyrighted testicles, but that's probably a little more difficult. All right, let's do quick patron shout-outs here. I will start. Thank you to purchasing the In Bruges tier and hope you will promote my Steam game, 4Play Chess, available to wishlist now. I have no shame. This is...
How long are we going to let this guy have this name for?
As long as he's paying $30 a month, I guess. Since Artifact was the card game, did you send it a sorry for your loss card when it died?
That's really sad.
Still too soon. Vovalicious, how can I donate more than 30 USD per month to that beautiful man? Sunsfan is the question that keeps me up at night. Thank you, friend. Roundy 3. What's that?
I said check his stream.
Oh. Roundy 3.
That's how you can donate more than 30 months.
My name is not Armando Perez. It's Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide. Some rap song that I'm not aware of. I can see your face. Games for Falling Asleep.
I have no idea.
Thinks Dota could have millions of players if it were properly marketed. Disco Farm D, Vincent Darksea, Hakuna Matata, Commander Donut, Chakar still an asshole, Milan Miami, and the Mega Pope.
And Sunsfan, why don't you have a middle name? TI in New Zealand. You do, don't you?
I do.
Actually, you do.
It is.
But he's keeping it a secret.
It is. Do you know what it is?
Yes.
What is it?
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, I don't. What would I care? People know your middle
Amir.
name. Yeah, Amir. It means prince in Arabic or Farsi or both. I don't remember. It is back when not to go on a story time here, but back when I was very self-conscious about my name, Shannon, because I grew up in the Middle East and it was like a very bubble mentality where wasn't really exposed to that much. And it was a huge culture shock moving to the U.S. and I got bullied big time. So there was a short period of time where I would tell people to call me Amir because I didn't like getting bullied. But eventually that faded away. And now you have the version of me that just doesn't give a shit about anything. It's just completely dead inside. So
that's because you are a prince. So you don't need to care very much.
Thank you, Sindern. You're so kind. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome. What are you the prince of, actually?
Diapers. I really don't know.
Oh.
Adult diaper. If we could get an adult diaper sponsorship, I could put it to good use. Let me tell you that right now.
Definitely see how the bullying stopped. Zan Xavier, Nate Thicko01 Hamscroats, Bacon, Shark TM, Freshly Seasoned Goat Balls, Dop, Nothing to See Here, _man, a Festivus for the rest of us.
Oh.
Ben Broomhead is a Melbourne guy. Sydney is a bit cringe, not gonna lie. We can all agree fuck ScoMo though. Pitch Black, Wouldn't Aftertaste Anonymous, and our fact guy, just in case that gets misheard, so I say fact. Peter, approximately 99.85% of all the mass in the solar system is concentrated in the sun. Niebling. That's a lot.
I love space facts, by the way. More space facts, please. They're very fascinating.
99.85% of all the mass in the solar system is in the sun.
Yeah, I believe it.
Dude, I'm so little.
The solar system is very empty. Unless you count dark matter, whatever the hell that is. Nobody actually knows.
Quote Prince Amir 2020.
Thank you. Okay, just so before we get started, I want to say so obviously with stuff going on in Ukraine right now, it's super fucked up. And it's so weird to be living in a time where it feels like we should be past this kind of stuff, but it continues to happen. And this one is super scary. I know you do too, have a lot of friends in Ukraine. We've worked with people in Ukraine. I've been there 4 or 5 times at least. So we are hoping that everything, works out. And I hate saying our thoughts and prayers, but, I don't know what else to say. I really, really hope that everybody's okay in Ukraine. So stay safe for those that are affected and people that know people that are affected, etc. So, okay. Yeah.
Scary stuff. I don't know either. Like, I genuinely thought this was just, some guy wanting to look strong and terrifying, but he actually did something about it, and that's really fucked up.
Yep.
It's like a lot of people, I think most people expected this to be some sort of power play, but for it to actually start happening for real, it does feel like, yeah. It's messed up. I have to say I just woke up to it, right? So I haven't had much time to read and understand what exactly is going on, but I was honestly shocked that this is real. So hope that everybody over there either stays safe or gets out of there or both, right? Because I've seen a lot of people seemingly are just starting to evacuate, basically. Like, we don't know how big and widespread this is going to end up being, right? But it's obviously fucking terrifying. So
I will also say I was actually close to not streaming today, just because I don't know, it just feels weird. But after like a couple hours, I'm like, what am I doing? It's not like I'm helping in any way. And maybe what this, podcast specifically, maybe that could help somebody. I've gotten emails before, and again, coming into not to make this about us, but the one thing that I love that I was not expecting when getting into this industry is, and I still don't fully understand it, is some people really take like the stuff that people like you, me, or anybody in the scene, the stuff that we do, and it makes them feel better in some capacity. I've gotten some very heartfelt emails in the past that, like, I read them, I'm like, I literally don't know how to respond. And I hope that, this can be a distraction at the very least for people that are affected. So hopefully things turn out okay. And then now we go on, the worst segue in the history.
That's what we do, though.
That is true. We have a gigantic patch to talk about. It is the Primal Beast. What do they call it? The
Primal Beast update?
The Primal,
is it just called that?
I guess so. It includes 7.31. So I'm going to show it on the screen for people that are watching, both live and on YouTube. I do not want to go through every single patch note, Cinderin. I think we should just go over stuff that we find interesting or things that maybe are a big deal. Does that sound good?
Yep. That sounds great.
Okay. So let me share that. Oh my goodness. That is a new hero. His name is Primal Beast. Have you gotten a chance to see him in action, Cinderin?
I only got to play one game last night and he was not in it. I think he was banned. But I did play Aghanim's Labyrinth, so yes, I have seen the hero.
It's actually the exact same abilities.
Yep.
I played four regular Dota games today. All 4 games it was banned. And then the 5th game, I played a turbo mode game because I didn't have time because of the podcast, and somebody else on the other team picked it and they got destroyed. I saw that has a 36% win rate basically across all ranks right now, which is, I think
Dawnbreaker on release.
I think I was actually saying Dawnbreaker was low 40s. Is that not right? Was it mid 30s as well? Because this is extraordinarily low.
I think on release Dawn was under 40 as well.
Okay. Well, in that case, they're probably going to give him like 1,000 HP, and then he'll be back to 50%. So having said this, obviously I played around with it in test mode, but I haven't gotten to play it myself in an actual game. So not that much to talk about. We can talk about each respective skill, and if we think perhaps it's...
You talk about how his eyes look like they don't really fit.
What do you mean?
If you look at the model in the menu,
yeah,
do they not look a little bit out of place to you?
I don't know. He looks weird, but he's supposed to look weird. I don't know.
There's some shading missing, right? Like
you would complain about the most insignificant bullshit.
No, it just stands out to me. Am I crazy? I look at this model, and the model looks really nice, and then the eyes look like someone just plopped them in the end and called it a day. Like,
I mean, I don't
disagree. Am I missing something here?
It doesn't bother me, but yeah, I mean,
They're weird.
They kind of glitch out too, based on what I'm looking
at. Like when I play Dota, I play fully zoomed in, and this really ruins my gameplay experience.
Yeah, that's what ruins it. So, okay, let's talk. So he's a strength hero. He's melee. I actually personally like the fact that they took a labyrinth boss and made him a hero. I think that's super cool. I think people have been clamoring for something that's not humanoid, which he fits the bill. Mm-hmm. People shit on me for thinking Aghanim himself would be added. They literally just did that to Primal Beast.
Yep.
I think still Aghanim at some point will come out, but we'll see. Either way, Cinderin, let's talk about his skills. So his first ability is Onslaught. It's essentially a charge. You can hold it so you can go farther. You can go through terrain with it. It stuns and it pushes back. And it also pushes back teammates, which is interesting. What are your thoughts on this ability?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, you need to charge this up first, right? So you're like standing still.
Yeah.
And the longer you charge it, the longer range it gets, but the move speed is always the same, right?
Yes, I believe the move speed is the same. But you can stop it early, obviously, if you want to not go as far.
Right. And it takes up to 2 seconds to maximum charge.
Yeah.
So, what did you ask? What I think about the ability?
Yeah, we're going to go ability through each ability.
It sounds pretty fun, but also pretty weak, I think. I mean, it's also easy for me to say now that you've announced his win rate, right? But having a spell where you need to stand still for a long time in order to charge up and give the enemy team time to react sounds kind of weak. But in a way, it's a bit like Illuminate, right? Just that. So you kind of need to, you want to cast a spell from Fog and then try to hit heroes, but the payoff isn't that good, right? It's a 1.6 second stun on level 4, which isn't that good. And you need to remember you expose yourself entirely with this spell.
Let's try to not harp on numbers, because obviously that will change.
Just conceptually whether it's fun.
Yeah, conceptually whether it's fun and or if it's going to be good at some point. Because sometimes it doesn't matter how much you buff something, it's just, it's not a good skill.
This is probably, I think this is going to be fun to use. So I'll say it's a fun spell. Is it good? Depending on the rest of his kit, it's good, right? Like, it's essentially a way to get yourself into a fight, which will always be good, right? If you want to go in, having a tool that isn't purchasable to go in, like Dagger or Force Staff or whatever, is obviously good. So,
yeah. So
it's pretty good.
Keep in mind that you can technically kind of turn a bit as you're charging, so you have a little bit of control, which is nice. It feels like a bowling ball. It feels fun in test mode. Again, I haven't gotten to play in an actual game, but and I think it'll eventually be good because there's so many different ways you can buff it. You can lower the channel time. You can up the stun, like whatever. You can do.
You can make him spell immune while he does it.
Yeah, and that's been a big thing. People have been talking about how he just requires a BKB. I think most people are playing him off lane right now, but obviously people are trying him all over the place just to see. And I swear to God, if I see one more strength hero turn support, Cinder. I'm going to fucking lose it, okay? Like, how does Marcy become a support? Look at her ult. Give me a break, man. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Her ult is so good that you can play it support.
Next ability is Trample. So you activate this, and you yourself become disarmed for like 5.5 seconds, and you stomp around the ground. Every 100, if you stand still, nothing happens, but every 140 units you move, it's kind of like the Sand King shard. It'll proc this, except instead of just being static damage, it's a base damage plus your like 40% of your attack damage. Now, the interesting thing here is that it does not proc items at all. But if you get like Divine Rapier, the damage gets translated, but it won't like apply Scotty. It won't get, Daedalus crit, nothing like that. Did we have this conversation about how every hero they've come out with since Grimstroke has an ability like this?
Didn't we have a conversation about having an ability that procs on every 4th hit or something?
So it's interesting. So I think Marcy is the one that Marcy is the one that is not as similar because of the ult is not quite like this. But if you go through the list, and I'm trying to remember all of them off the top of my head, Boundless Strike from Monkey King, Pango's Q. What are some of the new heroes? Void Spirit's Ultimate, Mars's Bulwark. What are the newer ones? Snapfire's.
What do they have in common? What does Bulwark have in common with Boundless Strike?
They use your attack damage or they proc items from you. They're all like conceptually the same skill, just wrapped in a different package. Does that make sense? And
you mean the Bulwark Ags?
No, wait, sorry. Did I say Bulwark? What's Rebuke? Sorry,
Yeah.
Rebuke.
You meant God's Rebuke. Okay, okay.
Rebuke.
I was super confused.
And what are the newer heroes that just came out?
Hoodwink, Acorn Shot.
Yeah, W for her. And I feel like there's one more. But Q, I don't play the
Okay.
as you can tell. I've rebounded to W. But the point is, it's interesting that they keep using the same idea and repackage it. Mm-hmm. Am I the only one that notices it's the same skill, kind of? You know what I mean?
Dawnbreaker, Starbreaker,
Q,
right?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's true. There's a lot of things that just apply some element of physical damage that scales with you. That's very true.
But that is a new trend. That's the thing. Like, that wasn't the case before all those heroes came out, right?
I feel like we had a conversation about Dawnbreaker Luminosity, the fact that after X attacks, something happens, and we were like, that also happens on other heroes. But now I'm trying to think of which other heroes it was.
It's like, just Slardar.
Yeah, so that's not a thing at all. Because that doesn't seem right that that's a very common theme. But yeah, the physical scaling ability is a very common theme, that's for sure.
So this one is interesting, though, because you're disarmed. It only gives 40%, but it doesn't proc items. I feel like they could have it proc items, and that would help its win rate. It would be.
Do you have fixed move speed in this?
No. So it actually synergizes with the charge, the first ability. You can use your trample while you're in the charge mode. So it goes off a bunch of times because it's based off of every 140 units that you are moving. In my experience, the blink dagger doesn't really do anything, but maybe it was bugged at the time.
I was thinking if you have like move speed items like Sanjin Yasha and stuff like that, if that helps a lot, or if it's like a boot of travel,
Right.
If it feels powerful, but probably not that much of a difference. Okay.
So I think this ability is cool. And again, I'm not complaining that they're doing the same thing, like the same idea. Not at all, actually. Like, Pango is my favorite hero in the fucking game. But I just found it interesting that nobody's noticing this trend of the literal same thing being added. What are your thoughts on this ability?
Wait, hang on. Pango isn't technically the same thing, right?
No, but it applies items. It's like the same conceptual idea.
Oh, right. It applies items. Yeah, but that one doesn't
damage
scale.
Or items, right?
Yeah. My thoughts on this spell? Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's unique. Like, for what it is, like you said, it does scale with physical damage or whatever, but this is a very unique ability in the game. There's nothing similar to this, except, I don't know, do you want to say Starbreaker is similar in a way? But like...
Yeah, it combines
Not really, right?
Yeah, it's not really similar to anything. The closest thing, it's like a combination of... I don't know if Starbreaker is the good example. It's like the Sand King Shard for sure, but it's not fixed damage. It's based off the attack damage, right? So I'd say it's more unique overall. But yeah, I like it. I like this ability.
Mm-hmm.
The E is a passive that has an active component, or vice versa, I guess. It gives you like just 25 base damage passively, but essentially what happens every time you're attacked, you gain a charge, and you can have up to 5 at a time. And when you release the charge, so when you activate the skill, you gain armor and attack damage based on how many charges. So 5 times whatever, the armor and damage becomes, which obviously synergizes with the ability we just went over, which was Trample. I think this is cool. Now, the thing is, like, it feels to a degree like these first 3 skills are a bit forced in synergy. Does that feel like that to you at all? I don't mind it personally, but it does. It's like very obvious how they synergize, which can sometimes can sometimes be a bad thing, but I don't think it is in this case.
No, I also, we've talked about this beforehand, or not beforehand, but earlier on the podcast in previous episodes. I don't think every new hero concept that comes out needs to have endless complexity and depth. I think it's fine to have heroes where, like, think about Mars. It's also really obvious how Mars' spells synergize, and that's a really good hero design, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's not particularly difficult to understand. It's very fun and rewarding to play, but the skill ceiling is super high. To me, that's like really cool design to do it like that. And I think this hero kind of might have something in that direction as well. I think the skill ceiling for this hero is really, really high. But yeah, like we said, the win rate isn't that good, probably just because the numbers are off. But there's nothing wrong with the design so far, I think.
Yep. It also slows. Forgot to mention that. So that's his slow. And the ulti, which doesn't really synergize that much with anything, is Pulverize, which you guys will know from, I think that's the final move that he had in Aghanim's Labyrinth. Essentially pick somebody up and start stomping them down. So it's like a 2.3 second stun for that hero. And then each time he brings it down, he's doing like 200 or 300 damage in an AoE, and also mini stunning the targets around. But it is channeling.
This is magic damage.
I'm not sure about that one.
Oh, Trample is magic damage too. Interesting. I thought it would be physical based on how it works, but it's actually as magical damage.
Are you positive about that?
It says here it's magical.
Where is here?
When you mouse over the spell in the client, it says damage type magical on Trample.
Okay, because I'm 100% sure it said physical when I did the spotlight. So either they changed it or I don't know.
Oh.
That doesn't make sense. It would be magical at all.
The Onslaught, the charge is physical, and then the Trample, the one with all the attacks, is magical. Huh. And then Pulverize is magical. That's what it says, but who knows? Okay. Like, it might be mislabeled.
So yeah, Pulverize is it's actually a really low cool. I think it's like 30-second cooldown or something crazy.
Yeah, it's a really low cooldown spell.
And it doesn't really synergize because you can't, like, obviously the W, it doesn't do anything if you're standing still. The E, it gives you damage and armor, which doesn't do anything there. And then the Q, I've tested it a bunch. If you time it right, you can charge and then pick up somebody, but you have to, like, if you're off a little bit, it'll just stop the charge prematurely and you just walk up to pick them up. So I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but it's a bit clunky, I guess. But it's, I mean, that low of a cooldown, it's definitely a good ult.
I'm looking over his kit and I'm thinking, I wonder if this hero is better as a 4.
Here we go.
I know that wasn't what you wanted to hear, but
I mean, I expect every hero to be a support at this
like,
stage.
think about it. You have this like mega long range engage charge that stuns, and then when you connect, you can trample to deal damage. And when you have the ult, you can basically charge someone, stun them, and then allow your team to connect. I'm not sure how well this hero scales with items, just looking over this, and what items you would need. I just feel like the kit is powerful early in the game. Right, that's why I'm thinking support that can make moves or whatever. But definitely, maybe it's not good enough. I'm curious. We'll see. We'll see.
Getting things like Heart, Satanic, although Satanic doesn't proc on the W at all, I guess. That's why I feel like items should just proc on that. Just do it.
That'd be crazy if they do.
Yeah, it would be really good. But he also, so the new heroes never have shards or ags, but he actually does have a shard, which is also from the game mode Ag's Labyrinth, where you just throw a rock and you can see the location of the rock ahead of time, so you can dodge it. It's like a skill shot, I guess. It stuns and does damage in AoE. Very simple. It's whatever. Not sure if it's worth 1,400, but yeah.
The enemy team can see the AoE, like in Ag's Lab, right?
I believe so, but now that I think about it, I'm not 100% sure about that.
And it cannot be thrown within a minimum range of you, so you have to throw it far enough.
Yeah, it has
which means
pretty
you can't
far
really
range,
combo
though.
it with your other spells.
Yeah. So, not sure. But yeah, that is the new hero. Be very interested to see how they buff it. I hope they don't go down the Dawnbreaker route and just increase
the enemy
stats.
can't see it, I'm being told by your chat.
Okay.
Haven't tested it. Okay.
All right, that is the new hero. Excited to see. Okay.
He sounds pretty fun. I think give it some time, maybe some buffs, and it'll be a fun hero to play.
Yep. 7.31. So, jungle creeps. Okay, I am trying my best, my very best not to be negative, Cinderin, okay? I was quite disappointed that 1/3 of the patch is neutral creeps. I'm not going to lie. I understand the purpose. Like, part of it is, like, you'll get to this, I'm sure. Part of it is to, make stacking a little bit more difficult to do for heroes. Part of it is, small part of it, to make Enchantress and Chen a little bit more interesting, or Doom, although I think Doom still eats the Centaur creep, probably. So all of them have skills now, essentially. They've added an Ancient Camp, which we'll get to. But the fact that 1/3 of the patch is fucking neutral creeps, I was not happy about that. I just want to let that out now. That was my first impression. What about you?
I actually don't mind how big of the patch that was, but it's the other 2/3 that I would have liked to see some other stuff in. But we'll go over it step by step, right?
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think... it obviously is going to take up a shitload of text, right? When you rebalance every single neutral in terms of stats, XP and gold bounty, and you give half of them or 2/3 a new ability, like, that's just a lot of text. The good thing is you can skim over a lot of it, because you're not going to remember this, and it's about playing 500 games, so you get like just an instinctual feeling for how tanky and strong the enemies are when you stack them. You can read this 200 times, go into a game, and you still won't get it, because you need to feel it. It's one of those feeling things in Dota. You just won't know until you try.
I know that you're going to disagree with this, because you're just that person, but I also felt like, and again, we're not even going to I guess we're talking about techies next, but the fact that they added all these abilities, it's like a lot of abilities, and it feels like something you kind of need to know, but maybe not. It just feels like an overwhelming amount of information that isn't really that important, It's like not that important to even know it, but it's just overwhelming knowing that it exists. Does that make any sense?
I know exactly what you mean.
It feels like it's not worth, like, if you're going to put stuff that we need to kind of remember, at least make it important, and this doesn't feel like that fits the bill for me, at least. So...
like you said, it gives the players that take neutral creeps a lot more agency, but I think a lot of the new stuff that is there isn't that good. So, but maybe when things get tested and rebalanced, a lot of more of the creeps will matter, right? But
to me,
it's tough to say.
I don't know if this is the case. This feels like this patch. God, I feel like we're already summing this up. It feels like the patch, when neutrals came out, that was like the big thing of the patch. Oh my God, this changes so much. This feels like that is what it's trying to be. And that's why I feel disappointed, because it's not. At least to me.
Yeah, this isn't a big thing in the same way, I agree.
But before we get to that, let's talk about techies.
I think we should. Can we do general changes first? Because that's always to me the most important one. But this time it might actually not be. But we'll see.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm not going to go too much into detail. Basically, the TLDR on gold and XP bounty streaks is that now you get more gold for killing heroes that are on kill streaks, and you get less experience almost always, with a few exceptions. So when kill streaks get longer, you get more gold for killing them. When kill streaks get longer, you get less experience for killing them. A theme of this patch in general is to... we'll wait with that, actually. Okay, so cooldown reduction stacks diminishingly. So now you can have Octarine Core and Quickening Charm, for example, but you don't get full effect. You get full effect of the best one, and then diminish on the second one, I would assume. That would just make sense like that. They've moved the bounty runes a little bit from the triangle to the primary jungle, so it's a little bit, it's a little bit more accessible for the enemy team, probably.
I just want to, this is one of my favorite changes, actually. Even though there's no map changes, which we'll get to, the bounty runes, it felt like mid was just getting water runes. They were getting bounty, like all of it was for them. And now that's not really a place that they want to go. So I think that is a good thing overall. One of the one of the few things that I like in the patch. Go ahead.
There's a lot of people that asked for something to be done about the water runes, and as far as I'm aware, they're totally unchanged, right?
Yeah.
So,
but in a way,
that's
this kind of is their way of saying, hey, this kind of nerfs runes in general for the mid laner.
Then your favorite change of the patch? Well, also the offlane towers have moved further away from base, which means it's a buff to the offlane because they're closer to their tower, and that will give them more situations in the lane where they have the bonus armor and regen, and it will make them safer in general in order to access the lane. So, yeah. Offlane just got better in every game. Then, your favorite change of the patch, when a hero respawns in the fountain, they're invulnerable as long as there's at least one enemy hero in the base until they issue a command. This is specifically only to combat fountain farming.
Thank you,
So
pal.
when you respawn, if there's an enemy hero in the base, you're immune. If there isn't, you have time to teleport out. So
great change.
I'm sure the next level... So here's what Griefers are going to do now. They'll pick Storm, and then when they kill the enemy team, they will stand outside of base, and just when they respawn, they will ball lightning through and kill them again in the fountain. But on every other hero, they can't do it.
That's right.
He's the only hero that can travel that fast, I think, and kill you before you TP out.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm here for the Griefers, man. I'm just here giving you guys ideas.
Thank you, Valve. I appreciate it. I'm not going to make a joke about how it took so many years. I just thank you. I actually don't know if there's an effect. I didn't notice this when I was playing because we did lose many games. I can't. I'm not sure if there's like a visual effect when you're invulnerable or not.
You might have just issued a command right away when you spawn.
Yeah,
right?
that's also the other thing. I mean, if you're getting fountain farmed, eventually you're gonna have handoff keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
But good change. Thank you.
I'm gonna skip some of the things that aren't as important. Then they've added some new armor types and abilities that correspond to those armor and damage types. This is gonna take some time to like get used to and get a feel for, but essentially melee creeps have runty, siege creeps have reinforced, and range creeps have piercing damage types, and it affects how much damage they deal to heroes and buildings and other siege units.
So to be clear, this was already in effect forever. It was just hidden, right?
I don't know if these are the exact same numbers as it used to be, but since they haven't specified it, I think it is.
I'm under the impression that I know that piercing, and they called it siege damage, not reinforced, and I don't know what the hell runty would be called, but these have been in the game literally since Dota 1. Numbers have probably changed a bit since then, but like I think it was a few years ago that they kind of hid them away, right? Because it was too complicated for people. Now they're just bringing it back with new names.
This is one of those things where I can't remember what variants we've had and what the last one was. You just have a feel for it in the game when you play a lot. That's what I mean. Like there are these mechanics that you don't like. You know what I mean if I say the majority of the player base don't know what damage type something is. They just know how hard the siege creep hits the tower and you, right?
Yeah.
Like it's there. It impacts how things interact, but
I am 99% sure that this was all in the game already. It says right here, most damage remains unchanged with a few exceptions. So like, for example, range creeps have always been piercing. That's obvious. Siege units, catapults have always had whatever that's called now, reinforced, but it was called siege before. And I'm just not sure about the melees, but...
And now all neutral creeps have standard attack type, so they're not piercing, reinforced, or runty, but their damages have been redistributed to be similar to before.
Okay.
And then Eidolons, Treants, and Lycan Wolves no longer have basic attack type, so they deal more damage to heroes than they used to at similar damage numbers. But then, for example, Furion's Treants got their damage nerfed. So it's like things are being moved around a little bit. Most neutral creeps that used to have a piercing attack type now have the piercing ability. So most of them, but not all. Yeah, you know. If you're really into this, guys, read it for yourselves. It's like really oddly specific things. Quality of life thing, neutral items shown Fog of War when they drop for the team that got them. So if you miss your neutral item, it's easier to find it where you dropped it. It can be really helpful if you're a streamer and you forget to pick up your item and then your chat says you forgot your neutral. then you can find it again. Now here's one of the biggest things of the patch, actually, in the general changes. Neutral creeps now increase their health by 30, armor by 0.5, base damage by 3, attack speed by 5, gold bounty by 1, and XP bounty by 1 every 7.5 minutes, up to 30 times. So it caps at 225 minutes, which is exceptionally rare, but it does happen that you play for 3 hours. This matters a lot because it means farming in general for heroes in the later stages of the game takes longer in the jungle. The camps are just stronger overall, and they also got buffed in addition to that, which we'll probably get to some of it at least, while giving slightly more bounty. It also means that heroes that overtake neutral creeps or heroes that buy Helm of the Dominator will get stronger and stronger creeps over time as well. So the jungle just is more powerful for good or bad in the game. Neutral creep base attack time has been increased to 2, and base attack speed has been readjusted to compensate. The main implication is that neutral creeps are more resilient versus attack speed slow. I'll just say anecdotally from yesterday, from the one game I played, that's not exactly directly related to this. The ghost creep hits really has the fastest attack animation I've seen. It seems so out of place. Like, the swing time of that creep now is crazy.
Well,
it's really fast.
They don't have limbs, right? It's a ghost. It can do whatever the fuck it wants.
It hits so quickly. It's kind of weird.
Fits the lore perfectly. Thank you, Val.
And then there's 2 new camps. There's an ancient camp with ancient Ice Shaman and Frostbitten Golems, and there's a large camp with Warpine Raiders. We'll get to them later. Then 3 new items.
What? We're not
one
there
of
yet.
them,
Wait, what are we doing?
Huh?
What order are you going in right now?
Looking at the gameplay update in the game.
What? What do you mean?
Oh, so they're in different order if you're in the browser.
All right, let me take over from here.
That's like the most Valve thing ever.
Let's
okay, sure.
So
let's
do
browser.
Do you want to talk about the neutral creep? Like the neutral creeps, I'm guessing we're just going to talk about the abilities more than all the other changes. Do you want to talk about that first or techies?
Techies then.
Okay, so techies, they've removed a couple of his skills. No longer has stasis trap. No longer has remote mines. The proximity mines are now his ultimate, and you get 3 charges of it. Blast off is basically the same, except you don't take damage yourself anymore, which means you can't suicide.
You do, but it's not lethal.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no longer.
You can't suicide with it anymore.
Right, you can't
they
suicide
hate
with
that
it.
mechanic apparently, and removing it from every hero.
That's right.
Now, if anyone should not have it, it's techies, because I hate techies, so it's fine.
True.
Any nerf to techies is fine.
The first ability is called Sticky Bomb. It's very similar, if you played Heroes of New Earth, to Bombardier, where you lob a bomb, and if it's close enough to a target, it'll latch onto them, and then it'll do it'll slow while it's on them and eventually detonate for AoE damage. I was actually playing against this again, I had to play a turbo mode game before this podcast, playing against it mid. They're gonna nerf this, I think. It's not even a skill shot. Like right now you see the lob go up and you're like, oh, you can't dodge it. Like if it's even if it's even remotely close to you in lane, it's going to land. It's like not difficult to hit at all.
Okay.
So I think that like the hitboxes of that are going to change probably, but I like the idea of it. And then the W is Reactive Taser. He basically becomes like a fast, a jolted version of himself. He gets some movement speed. And by the time, and if somebody attacks him during this period, they get disarmed. And then eventually he kind of blows up in an area. It doesn't do damage, I don't think. Just disarms in the area. So the idea is
shard. It does some, or scepter, right?
Yeah, right. The scepter. It seems really bad actually, but the scepter it does damage, and you can apply it to allies, which is cool. But for 4,200 gold, I don't think anybody's ever going to do that. So the idea is to activate, like first sticky bomb somebody, then activate your reactive taser with a blast off combo, essentially. It seems fine. I mean, I was getting annoyed that it was hitting me constantly, but obviously I'd never played against it before. Maybe there's a way to dodge it, but it's definitely not the old techies, which I'm sure you'll be thrilled about. You don't just die out of nowhere. Like the proximity mines, it's that same sound, or you can see it when you get close. but
Yeah,
no
him
remote
having
mines.
one mine ability is okay. I mean, I personally would still rather have it be 0, but I understand, like, and if it has to be one of them, I think proximity mines is the best one to choose because it feels like it has counterplay, and um, and the hero inherently having it in your team, it feels like, it has more offensive plays. My gripe with this hero was always that no matter which team it's on, it's exceptionally defensive. Um, and it becomes an offensive hero if you're winning only. So if you have map control, suddenly you place the mines more aggressively, and then you take and maintain map control. But in the other game states, like this hero was always just so weird and so frustrating from my perspective to play against or with. I just didn't like when it was in the game. And now I feel more like, okay, um, we'll probably see some changes over time to the spells, but at least it feels like it has more like of a genuine place in the game. Like
I will say
it'll feel
though,
generally more in
I
tune with the
do
game.
genuinely. I'm not even memeing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for Slacks. I know that Techies has been this hero that's like what captured him, right? That's what got him into Dota, is this hero that isn't and like any other hero. You're just playing your own game. He loves the mind games that come out of it as well. And that's mostly lost now to this. I think this hero it sounds a lot more fun to play. Like I've told you, I've tweeted about it. I've literally never played Techies in 15 years of Dota 1 and Dota 2.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I play him now. I don't know. It seems more like a normal hero, but I do feel genuinely bad for Slacks because he is. It's probably like when Artifact 2.0 died. That's how I felt. He probably feels the same way about Techies right now.
Right. So now he doesn't get to play his psycho hero every game.
And he got it to level 30 as well. What a waste.
Yeah.
You know? Had some good
I
times.
feel less bad for him than you do, I guess, but I'm just a really mean person.
Yeah, you're a pile.
I think now Slacks has to play Omni Knight, who got changed a lot as well, by the way.
Yep, true.
Which is also fun, but we'll get there.
Okay, so let's talk about the creeps. Like you talked about, there's three completely new creeps. The Ancient Ice Shaman, which uses the same model that was in, I think this model was in, what's the RPG that they made? Siltbreaker?
Yeah, was it in then?
Yeah, because we took it for Pog, and if you remember, we used it for a Guardian, and we named it Onion, or Loy, technically. We actually used the correct name. So I don't know if you're aware that your dog was in our mod. You're a terrible friend.
I think you told me.
Yeah. So that is the Ancient Ice Shaman. So the ability is is that what you want to do, is just read the abilities?
Yeah, so basically I'll just do a quick recap of all the creeps. So the general pattern is the creeps are stronger and give less gold and less experience. There's some like slight variations of it, but overall the camp itself will give slightly less reward and be slightly harder to kill. So that's going to affect farm speed, and then you add on top of that the creeps get stronger over time, and the bounty reward is minimal compared to how much tankier and stronger they are over time. So yeah.
So the Ancient Ice Shaman, which I haven't yet to kill in a game, so I don't know how strong they actually feel, but he throws a bomb on an enemy unit or building, dealing 50 damage per second for 8 seconds. Deals only 25% damage to buildings. So a DPS thing that, again, like a lot of these things, I'm just thinking of Doom taking. And let's go through each one and just see if Doom will ever take something other than Centaur, because that's a big no, for sure.
Okay.
Because I'm a big Doom player. Who do we have? We have Ancient Frostbitten Golem. His ability is Time Warp Aura. Grants 10% CDR in a 1200 radius. Very interesting.
That's really good, I think, in pro play.
Good. For sure.
Keep in mind, by the way, these new ancient creeps and the old ones have 30% magic resistance.
True.
And for some reason, the Warpine Raider does as well. I don't know why, because that's not an ancient camp creep. But for some reason, that one has magic
because
resistance.
it looks like a pine cone, so it should be tanky for something.
Oh, that's why. It's like Pokemon logic.
Lore-wise, it makes sense. So Warpine
I think it's time
Raider,
to give back the fire damage type to Cinder Brew.
Oh, I cannot wait to talk about Brewmaster. That's actually one of the few things I like. So Warpine Raider, Jesus Christ. That's actually a hard one to say.
Warpine Raider.
Warpine Raider has the ability called Seed Shot. Throws a seed to a unit, slowing for 100% for 1 second, and dealing 100 damage, can bounce to nearby enemies up to 4 hits. So
Basically like Acorn Shot.
Yeah, it's like a baby Acorn Shot. So, okay.
Yeah. I think the slow is stronger, though. Acorn Shot doesn't slow for a full second, does it?
I have no idea. 100% slow it's a sheep.
No, Acorn Shot slows for 0.35. So it slows 3 times as long as Acorn Shot does.
So what you're saying is Helm of the Dom on Hoodwink.
It's just fire all the shots. Yeah.
Kobold Foreman doesn't have anything.
Just a lot of them is just stat changes and bounty changes, but literally every creep got changed, I think.
Yeah, I think almost all of them have abilities, though. Kobold Foreman might be the only one. Kobold Soldier has Steel Weapon passive ability. Every third attack, it will disarm its target for 3 seconds. Interesting.
Just so random.
It feels like the Void Shard guy from Brewmaster, right? Except it's attack-based. It's not a spell.
Yeah, I mean, if you're fighting this camp, you just have to kill the soldier first now, right? Instead of the
yeah, true.
What's it called? The foreman that we just went over, the one that has the speed aura.
Yeah. And then, so which one is the one with the cup? Is that foreman or just kobold?
That's the foreman.
Wait,
the foreman has the cup.
So he has his old ability still.
The foreman has the aura.
Okay.
The speed aura. And now the kobold soldier is the one that there's one of in the camp. That's the one that has a spear.
Yeah. Okay.
And the 3 last ones are the kobolds, which
the
have
babies.
The new aura, which is really weird.
Yeah. Prospecting aura. Allied heroes within a 1200 radius gain 20 gold per minute. So are you meant to just have this sit by you the whole game?
It can't be worth it, right? Like you need to stack as a team then to get value out of it.
Wait,
and
does it stack?
I don't think so. I don't think you can have more than one active at a time, but it's more if you want this to affect all your heroes, you need to be within 1200 range of each other all the time, and that's just not how the game works.
Right, but what if you have 3 Helm of the Dominators, Syndrin, or Chen, or whoever?
If they do stack,
yeah,
which I don't think they do, but imagine they stacked and you pick Chen and you literally just take 4 of these kobolds and run it in the ass of your carry all game.
Right.
They will have an extra 80 GPM, but you will have no game, so that will also not be worth it. I think this is just really... It's meant to be one of those like little funny things. I don't know how good this is. I don't think it sounds that good. It's not that much.
So this one does kind of sound good. Hill Troll Berserker has a new passive ability, which is Break. So whenever he hits somebody, it applies a break for 3 seconds, cooldown of 10 seconds. Yep. I feel like... I'm trying to think of a situation, like obviously there's situations where you need a break and you don't want to buy Silver Edge or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you just get a Helm, or you need a Chen, or you need a Doom. Like I could see some situations needing this guy for sure.
Yeah, this ability will be useful sometimes, but all of the situations where you take over the troll creep, it doesn't have very good attack range, right? The Hill Troll Berserker is like 450 or something. They don't have full 600 range, so... Using this ability, if it's not with Devour or with Dom, where you get extra move speed on the creep, I guess Chen gets more as well now. But it probably sounds better than it is a lot of the time because connecting it won't be that easy.
Yep, true.
All the break items and abilities are really easy to hit in comparison. So,
all right,
yeah,
so
it's there.
The Hill Troll Priest has a new passive ability. So that's the one that has
mana aura.
Yeah, the mana aura and the baby 5 heal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now has Heal Amp Aura, so grants 15% heal amplification to all allies within 1200 range. So, like this one makes sense for Chen, right?
Yeah,
that one sounds pretty decent for sure. Then
There's going to be some strategies that want to push with healing. Probably this patch and this creep is a big part of that.
Yep.
Also, the heal got changed, so instead of being this really shitty, super low cooldown heal, now it's a much better, longer cooldown heal. So it heals 100 instead of 15. It's actually impactful.
Oh, I didn't even see that they changed that. Okay.
Yeah, the heal is totally different. It costs 12 times as much mana on a 20 times as long cooldown for about a 7 times better heal. And that might sound like a nerf mathematically, which it is, but you're not always going to have that creep just auto-casting and being able to do that non-stop while you're using it. It just makes it worse in lane.
That was one of the most hilarious. I'm actually kind of sad to see that go. It felt like a huge meme for many years.
It's such an old leftover. That ability was strange.
Yeah. Vul Assassin. So Envenom weapon has slightly changed to be a lot stronger for only a 2-second period, though. I think before it was like, was it? Oh, does it show here? Oh, yeah, it was 20 seconds. Now, it says it's 10. No,
on
no.
creeps.
Okay, heroes is 2. I was going to say it like lasted no time at all in my games. So it'll reduce your health regen by 75% for only 2 seconds. So that might be a little too much. Like that seems pretty worthless. 2 seconds? It needs to be like perfectly placed. Ghost, which you seem to love, no skill. Just fast attack, apparently.
Base attack time increased from 1.2 to 2, right?
Yeah.
Which is what I think all of the creeps kind of did. It just looks really funny on the Ghost. Like, I'll tell you. You'll see it in game.
Fell Spirit has the Vex ability that silences a unit for 3 seconds. Cooldown of 15 seconds. So it just feels like they're putting useful. Like basically every mechanic in some small form on these creeps, right?
Yeah.
Harpy Scout new ability is Takeoff. Can be toggled to gain flying movement and lose 50% movement speed. Harpy Scout is disarmed while flying. Costs 2.5% max mana per second. I was going to say, like, if it didn't cost that much mana, Doom could use this to, like, try to gank, like, walk up terrain or something, but aside from that,
what's 2.5% max mana? That's 5. So when it takes off, it can fly for 180 divided by 5 seconds if it doesn't regenerate mana, which is 36. I don't know how good this is. If it has full flying vision, like 1800 day vision, it might be really good, but I actually don't know how much it can see when you dominate or Chen or Ench control it.
Yeah.
But vision is always an extremely valuable asset, especially the higher skill Dota gets, the more vision matters. So I'm not going to disregard this right now. Like, the movement speed slow obviously sucks, but having this creep as just a tool whenever you want to siege a tower, whenever you want to take Roche, could prove to be extremely useful. I also don't know how much night vision it has, but could be really, really good. This might be the best new ability, actually, even though most people will just glance over it. We'll see.
I glanced over it, not going to lie. Harpy Stormcrafter, that's the one with chain lightning. Now it'll just has better AI, I guess. Will cast the lightning against low health units. Mud Golem.
I think it never cast it before, right?
Oh, you mean, yeah, by default, without taking it over. Yeah.
The neutral never cast that.
Yeah, correct.
And the Mud Golems never cast their rocks either, and now they do.
Right, so they'll occasionally, I don't know what, do you know what procs it, though? Like, what initiates this casting of Hurl Rock?
No idea. Absolutely no idea.
So it'll occasionally cast Hurl Rock at player-controlled creeps, but they won't chain cast, apparently.
And they won't cast at hero. It's really weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
Then the Shard Golem, same thing. Then we got the Ogre Bruiser. I was really surprised by this, even though I read it. You don't like. There's just so many to remember. Ogre Smash, new ability. Ogre slowly charges a big attack for 2.8 seconds, stunning for 3 seconds, and dealing 200 plus 8% of the target current HP as damage to all units in a 200 radius in front of them. Has a 12-second cooldown. And it will occasionally cast Ogre Smash in the camps. So this is my question is, what causes him to cast it? Because before, like with Centaur Stomp,
it just feels like it.
You need 3 units. Now it's just random, feels like.
I have no idea. I think, again, this is almost reminiscent of some of the really old Dota patches where it was like, instead of saying what actually happened, it would say increased snipers damage slightly. You know, like that would be a patch log from 15 years ago. And it's like, I'm kind of getting this vibe here. It's like, it is detailed what the spell does, but it doesn't say when it uses it. Like, what is occasionally? Is it every X seconds? Is it based on how many units are in the area? Is it based on time of day?
This forces
what country
you...
you're from? Like,
if you're playing like Naga or one of these like farm heavy jungle heroes, this forces you to pay attention to what camps you're killing, right?
Right. I don't know. My best guess is that it's on a timer, I think. And that timer just is a clock that's running nonstop in the game, and whenever it hits a certain amount of seconds, it uses the smash if there's enemies in range. I think if that is the case, I don't like that design. I think it should be more predictable. It should be based on how long you've been fighting the camp or how many units are in range or something, so you can reliably know the outcome.
All right. You jump
But
in, you eat this creep as Doom. Okay. Like forget about that beautiful AoE stun that you get with the centaur creep. Okay. You get shard, you blink in with the blink dagger that you've purchased because of the Devour gold. You infernal blade, which is extra stun, into an ogre smash. That is a lot of percentage based damage. Yeah, sure. Meteor Hammer after. Why not? Sounds terrible. Ogre Frost Mage.
You can't connect that.
Ogre
This
Frost
spell
Mage
is really weird.
has nothing new in terms of skills. Because it's already good. Satyr Banisher. Purge camp. Can now cast Purge in his camp after 5 seconds of attacking a hero.
So that's not occasionally. So that one is specific, right?
Yes, it is.
That's understandable and easy to relate to. Okay. You have 5 seconds to kill the Satyr Banisher. It's going to start purging you.
You know, I would actually like just a little flavor thing for the Ogre Bruiser. Every time you stack it, he gets angrier, right? And his skill gets better because he doesn't like more neutral. Like he's just getting too packed. He doesn't want to be in that shitty ass camp any longer. That was his camp to begin with.
Okay, real talk. Can you imagine using this ability? Like, how do you use it?
I don't know. It sounds terrible. It does sound like it does a good amount of damage, though, but it's a long, like 2.8 second channel.
I guess you can use it for zone control. Like, you can force people out of an area, basically.
Anyway, moving on.
Radius. Yeah, whatever.
Satyr Mind Stealer now has the Mana Aura ability. So that was the one from that one guy. 2.5 mana regen and 1200 AoE. Alpha Wolf, no new abilities. Giant Wolf.
Also, just quickly, you glanced over this kind of quickly. The Mind Stealer still has the mana burn. It's a godlike creep now.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, they don't.
It can just mana burn all the fucking time, right? Like if you have this creep as Chen or Ench, in the past you would run out of mana. It just feels like you can just mana burn people forever. It's actually probably kind of broken.
Giant
very
Wolf
annoying.
Has a new ability, Intimidate.
This is the non-alpha wolf. It's the bad wolves.
Right. Reduce the total attack damage of all enemies within 300 radius by 50% for 4 seconds. And it uses it on nearby enemies when on low health in his camp. Okay. Interesting. Centaur Courser. They've got a buff to their magic resist aura. The Centaur Conqueror doesn't need any changes other than the stuff that's applied to all the rest because the stun is god tier. Satyr Tormentor, kind of the same deal.
Got 2 armor though.
True.
A lot tankier.
Hellbearer Smasher no longer has Swiftness aura, which I didn't think made any sense on him anyway. Has a new passive ability called Death Throw Power. When Hellbearer Smasher dies, all allies within 700 range gain 50 base attack damage for 5 seconds.
50%.
What did I say?
50.
50%.
So, okay. I think these death ability thingies are... So, let's just look at the Hellbearer as well. I'll just mention that one. So, when the regular Hellbearer dies, allies within 700 range get 100 attack speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Clinks with Helm of the Dominator is probably back, right? Because you can take either the tomato or the potato with you, and then you can death pact them. And you get a shitload of damage or attack speed when you death pact them for 5 seconds, which is enough for you to get multiple attacks in, especially...
I didn't even think about that, yeah.
Yeah, this must be crazy on Clinks, right? Or just having someone in your team with a Helm of the Dominator when you're Clinks. So that you can just eat this and go crazy for 5 seconds.
100 attack speed, 50% damage.
The 50% damage is crazy, right?
I literally, I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking that, like, when you're doing a big stack, that you have to pay attention now to kill these last, essentially, right?
Yep, that's also very true.
This feels like it's, I mean, it doesn't feel like, it's very similar to the ability that was in Auto Chest and then Underlords later. Remember the Hellbearer Smasher neutral that you had to kill last or else it would just beat the shit out of you?
Yeah,
so
that's
same
true. I
idea.
actually remember that.
I actually think this
Yeah.
is really cool, but based on what you just said, which I didn't think about, the Clinks thing, it sounds fucking insane. But we'll
I'm a
see.
little bit worried about the balance of some of these things, but we'll see. Like on a theoretical level, it's just 5 seconds, right? But those 5 seconds, Clinks is a monster.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's OP. Perhaps you have to specifically start countering it or thinking about it. Does anyone else have the ability to kill off their own creep on command? They don't, right? Enchant can't. Ench can time it with enchant expiring.
Infest?
Infest, that's true. Yeah, Lifestealer might actually get the buff when he comes. Dude, that's also wild.
So an easy way to nerf this if it's too good is just make the numbers different for heroes, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
but
simple.
imagine Lifestealer just jumps out of a Hellbearer Smash and has 50% base attack damage while he's using his rage.
I know what I'm playing.
That's crazy.
Next time I load up Dota. Sounds great.
Wild. If it works. I don't know if you get the buff when you're infested, because technically you might get it. Yeah, you'll probably get it.
Yeah, why not? All right, moving on. Wild Wing. So this is the one with Tornado now. Is that right? Yeah. So the Tornado.
So the small ones.
The Tornado from the Ripper is now on the Wild Wing, essentially. Right? It lasts for 5 seconds after channel is interrupted. That's definitely different. And whenever a Wild Wing Ripper dies to a hero in his camp, there's a 33% chance that nearby Wild Wings cast Tornado to the attacker. So RNG.
Can this just be guaranteed instead? Like, why is this 33% chance? That's very strange.
People like RNG sometimes, Syndrin.
Like, this should just be guaranteed, and then it could be weaker when it's not player controlled or something. Like, I find it odd that this is chance based.
And
I mean, if I'm farming this camp now, I'm just killing the Wild Wings before the Ripper, right? But imagine when it's a triple stack or something. How you need to make like some sort of fucking flow chart for which creeps you kill first. If there's this camp, I do this, and then you know,
true.
like it's starting to become a science to farm the jungle, which, you know, I wanted less gold on the map.
I don't mind that though, because then it's less
rocket science.
It is less brainless, right? The carries have to pay attention.
Yes, but
I mean, and before, like if you're a magic damage dealer, you'd want to kill like the baby centaurs, right? To be able to, if that's how you wanted to farm, like the much more basic version of this. And then the Ripper, the king of them, now has a new ability instead of the tornado called Hurricane. Vector targeted. Target a unit and a direction. The unit will be pulled 400 units in that direction over 0.5 seconds. This is an ability from Han on Zephyr. I can't remember the name of the skill. Only being attacked will cast Hurricane to hero. That wording is terrible. To heroes chasing other heroes in the vicinity, pushing them in the opposite direction. That is not English. What does that mean?
So I think it means upon being attacked.
Oh, so just cast it now in general.
So when this hero gets attacked, it will cast Hurricane to heroes. So if you attack this, it will cast Hurricane on you, and it will chase other heroes. I understand this.
Moving on.
Sorry, it's really complicated. I'm not going to explain it to you, but I totally get it.
Notes feels like it's neutral camps. Dark Troll Summoner no longer has Ensnare ability, but the Raise Dead is much better now because it doesn't need corpses and it just spawns 3 outright. So that's nice, especially if you want to take it over. Now they're not as useless. And then the actual skeletons themselves, they have a passive ability called Rally, which if there's other allies within 1200 range, they gain 3 bonus attack damage.
How many skeletons can you have in an army, realistically?
I don't know. How many times can you cast this?
I don't
say
know.
the cooldown. Yeah.
But this ramps up pretty hard, right? But their attack damage was also lowered massively. So I don't know if this is going to be a thing that you make like a skeleton army and you go push towers or something, but they're still like paper. Right, they just die to nothing.
Do Wraith King skeletons count as skeleton warrior? Doubtful.
Probably not.
Hill Troll now has Ensnare ability.
Yeah, so that's the little troll boy.
Yeah. And
will sometimes cast Ensnare to targets attacking it.
Yes, sometimes.
Based on what?
Just how he's feeling. It's he's an individual. Just let him be. Ancient Black Dragon. Just stat-related stuff, which we'll skip. Ancient Black Dragon, new passive ability. Magic Amp Aura. Increases spell damage received by enemy units within 1,200 units by 5%. Then we have the Ancient Granite Golem. No changes with skills. And we're almost done with neutrals, believe it or not. Ancient Rock Golem has a new passive ability. The Weakness Aura reduces the armor of enemy units within 1,200 units by 2.
It doesn't sound that good, does it? Like, I mean, 2 armor is not bad, but
it's an ancient that you can't really take over early, right? With any hero.
I don't know. It doesn't strike me as very good.
But this also makes them stronger, right? It's reducing your armor when you're trying to kill it.
Yes. That's what we need to remember with all of these things is that we're looking at it from the perspective of, oh, what do I benefit when I take it over? But all of these camps are just harder to farm, right? And they're stronger when these are in it.
Right. Then we have Ancient Thunderhide. God, my throat's really killing me. Which, no changes with skills. And then Ancient Rumblehide. I didn't even know that was the name of it, honestly.
I couldn't come up with a skill for that one, I guess. So it just has none.
They should have given it evasion. Don't you remember that creep?
Isn't that like literally the only ancient that doesn't have an ability?
Maybe. Wait,
does it have anything?
Maybe it does have. Maybe it has that cloak stuff as well. No. I don't know.
Oh, wait, what does the Rumblehide actually have? Does it have it?
We'll move on while you look that up. Now we have item updates. So 3 brand spanking new items. Go ahead.
It has the War Drums aura.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. 3 brand spanking new items. So the first one is called Revenant's Brooch. Requires a Witchblade, Mystic Staff.
Brooch.
One moment.
Yes, I also can't. Oh, okay. You can also say brooch in American. It's all good. I thought it was actually only brooch.
Sorry, I'm going to have to check this up.
Brooch or brooch.
Someone corrected me when I used to say brooch. They were like, no, it's brooch.
Thank you, dictionary.com, for shutting Cinderin down. If that was pronounced brooch,
I was lied to. Someone said, no, it's brooch. And now I look it up, and you can also say brooch in the US.
Yes.
I speak very American English.
You speak better English than me, but I would be shocked if it was just brooch because that would be an A. Like, why would there not be an A there?
Exactly, but apparently. Okay, well.
Anyway, very expensive item. Gives you 45 int, 40 attack speed, 8 armor, 300 projectile speed. And the passive, which is the important thing, causes your next attack... It's all right, that's the Witchblade. The active, your next 5 attacks have True Strike and deal magical damage, which means you can attack ethereal units. So a Harkin's Blade-esque item has finally... Yep. I mean, it's not as cool as Harkin's Blade, I'll be honest, but it's a start. Your thoughts?
This is a very expensive item. Keep that in mind. 6,200 gold is a shitload. And the stats that it gives you for its cost are not that good, right? Like 45 int is nice. This is an int hero only item, right? Being realistic.
Yep.
We had heroes in the past by Witchblade that weren't int, like Monkey King would buy it. I don't think Monkey King buys this. I just don't think it's worth it, if ever. But it's a really cool item for certain int heroes like Silencer, Nature's Prophet, these kind of right-click int heroes. Maybe something like Lena could buy it. Puck, who used to buy Witchblade, blah, blah, blah. I think the mechanic of changing your attack type to magic sounds really interesting. I think it's cool. We've talked about this in the past with Harkin's Blade, that you loved that item in Han. I think it makes sense to have something like this. I don't know how good the numbers are, but it sounds like a fun design.
Yeah, so Harkin's Blade, it was essentially you toggle the item on and your attacks just become that, but it costs mana, so similar like Frost Arrows or Glaives or whatever. So my question is, like with Glaives, how does this work? It says it deals magical damage. So what happens to your pure damage?
So the way Glaives work is that they deal a physical component and a pure one, right?
Yeah.
The physical component is just your base damage, and the magical component is a percentage of your int, or the pure component. If you use this on Silencer, your physical part of your attack will be magical and the pure will remain pure. I think that's just what makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So then you do magical and pure damage at the same time with this.
Sounds good to me. All right. Do you like this item?
Yeah, I like it by design. I don't know about the numbers, but it sounds fine.
This one is strange. Wraith Pact requires Vlad's point booster and 400 gold recipe. Obviously gives a Vlad's aura. It has an active, can be cast within 350 range to create a totem that reduces all enemies' attack and spell damage within 900 AoE by 25% and also deals 25 damage per second. Totem can move at 150 movement speed, lasts for 25 seconds, and takes 5 hero hits to destroy.
I think this item's overpowered. That's my gut feel.
Okay, conceptually, I actually just don't like it as a concept. It's fucking weird. It doesn't feel like a Dota item at all, you know? Maybe I'm being a boomer right now.
It is kind of weird.
Not a big fan of like the damage reduction auras in general, because for stuff like this, you can't really tell that it's being reduced. It's not obvious. Does that make sense? Like, I think that's one of the reasons it bothers me. And then the effect that it makes, it's like this red, it looks really weird. This is one that's going to take a long time for me to get used to.
Just wait. We have a worse mechanic coming later.
Okay.
But this can take the cake for now. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I don't inherently dislike the idea of this as a concept as much as you do, but I just think the values are off. So, but that can obviously be changed, right? But killing this in the middle of a team fight is a mess. And it has a really big AoE, so you kind of have to deal with it. You can't ignore it. Like, okay, to give an example, let's just say this, I don't know if this gets removed by BKB, the effect. I don't know if it pierces spell immunity, but let's say it doesn't. The amount of damage that this takes away from the enemy team for how little it costs is a no-brainer, right?
Yep.
It lasts 25 seconds. This entire team fight, you're paying 1,600 gold on top of your Vlads to unlock this ability, and it also even deals damage. Like, it seems crazy to me. I think this is way too good. But maybe it won't be too good.
Hey, it's quite cheap. Quite cheap indeed.
It's really cheap for what it does, in my opinion.
This item I love. I actually purchased it today, and I kept saying Boots of Bearing every time I activate it, and for some reason that made me happy. It requires Tranquil Boots, so finally Tranquil's with an upgrade, Drum of Endurance, and a 1,500 gold recipe. So it contains 8 charges. Actually, I don't know what happens. Let's say you have 4 charges on your drums and you buy this. Does it turn into 8, I assume?
I don't know, actually. I think it should.
So either way, you get 8 charges, which is similar to drums, and you gain a charge every 3 minutes. So you basically don't run out of them. The active, I actually don't know the numbers for drum. Are these different?
They're slightly better, I think. I think drum is 35 and 12% or something. Let me check.
Okay, so this one, when you activate it, you get 50 attack speed and 15%
45 attack speed and 13% move speed is drum. So
it's
like
close.
Marginally better.
Now, the big thing, though, is that your boots don't break when you take damage. I think that is a huge deal. I love this item. Very cool.
And the way better thing about the drum here is that during the first 2 seconds of the drum on the Boots of Bearing, allied can't be slowed.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what it does. I don't know. I feel like this item is expensive for what it does, but I think it has like edge cases where the allies can't be slowed is really good. Right? I don't know if it dispels slows. It's not really specified there. If it does dispel slows, it's really good. If it doesn't, it's like you need to have the foresight to use this right before your allies get slowed and then they don't get slowed. I think it's a really high skill item, actually.
I could be wrong, but based on the wording, it sounds like it ignores it. So it doesn't dispel. Like the way I would think it is, it doesn't dispel
They just don't get applied.
But let's say you get galed and then you use it. It ignores the slow for that 2 seconds, and then the slow continues afterwards.
Oh, like that.
I mean,
maybe that's true.
That's my guess. I'm not 100% sure. But
yeah. But yeah, if that's how it works, it's honestly pretty damn good. I think. I don't know. It's a 1,500 gold recipe. Like, it is expensive, and you're obviously opting. Let's say you're a hero with Tranquil Boots, which will mostly be supports. You're opting to buy this over getting like a Force Staff or an aura item, Glimmer Cape. But there are some heroes that really like buying Drum and Tranks before, and then it probably feels nice to have like a way of combining them and getting an inventory slot. Right?
I mean, just both items in general, having something to upgrade is nice, I think.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so we should be skipping some things. So you tell me where to stop, okay? Bloodstone did get a pretty big rework, which we should probably talk about. It
Instead of getting healed, you get Spell Amp. Or Spell Lifesteal, sorry.
Of Spell Lifesteal. A lot.
You get a lot of Spell Lifesteal, but you can't refresh it. So you can only use it once. It has 40 seconds cooldown. And you get a debuff on you that lasts 40 seconds. You can only use this one time in a fight, no matter what you do. Although if you have CDR, you can use it more often, right?
True.
The effect lasts for 40. No, the drain debuff will always last 40. So no, CDR doesn't help either. This is, I want to say, probably worse most of the time. It's weird. It's cheaper, but it's also way more edge case when you use it, right?
Yeah, the other Bloodstone, it felt like it gave you a little bit of everything. Now you've taken out like 25% of it, but buffed the Spell Lifesteal quite a bit.
And the 100% mana regen amp on the old one was really strong on certain heroes, right? Like Storm, Lesh, etc. It's odd. But the health and mana for what it costs is really value, right? 550 of each is good.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think this item's going to be very popular, but we'll see.
Then we go to Orchid, which now requires Blitz Knuckles, Claymore, and Void Stone. And it's just stat differential, essentially.
It's more of an all-round item, less int. So you will see this item bought on more different heroes because the int component was what wasn't appealing to carries, for example. But I think now you can buy Orchid on a lot of heroes that you just want the silence in the game because the silence is cheaper. I played the one game I played yesterday. I played with an offlane Chaos Knight that bought this, for example, because it's such a good way of isolating a target for a lot of heroes, and it's pretty cost efficient, right? Gives attack speed and damage, and it gives more attack speed and more damage than before, and it's cheaper. So every non-int hero, like this, is really strong on a lot of heroes, actually. Yeah. Whether it's better or not as an item design, I don't know, but it has more uses now. More heroes will buy this for sure.
Yep. And Bloodthorn, just stat differences, right? Should be the same otherwise.
It uses the Mageslayer now, so it has the Mageslayer component.
Oh, that's right. So finally, Mageslayer gets an upgrade, a way to force people to buy it, essentially. Which, I mean, it's kind of a. I mean, it does have that spell reduction thing that I think it just needs to be more obvious when it's on you. Maybe that's the issue.
It's more expensive, but on average, I would say it's a worse item, right? It has less mana regen, way less attack speed, less int, and some more damage. I think the trade-off for most heroes, the old Bloodthorn, was better. The 20% magic resist, I don't know how much stock I would put in that. Like some games, I guess it's nice, but I don't know. I think the numbers on Bloodthorn might need to go up. We'll see.
E-Blade now requires a Kaya and Ghost Scepter plus
so weird.
1100 gold recipe. Yeah, this one's really weird. So the active converts the target unit. Wait, what is? I mean, first of all, the components are really. It makes more sense if you really think about it, right? But it's not like agi based anymore. So it's more like magical. What do you think the reason is that they? Was this Thompson buying every agility hero?
I think maybe they thought it was weird that this was an agility focused item that deals magic damage, but I actually really liked that design because it made, for agi heroes, it made an alternative path where you deal magic damage as an agi hero in offensive capability, and had the defensive option that it obviously still has. If it was OP on Morph or whatever, I think there's another way of solving that than killing E-Blade for agi heroes, but like now it's more of an int hero thing. But so here's the weird thing for me, right? I got this pointed out because I didn't see this at first read through, but someone in my chat said it when I looked over them last night. Look at the text for Ethereal Blast. It looks identical, right? But enemy targets are slowed by 80% and take 1.5 times your primary attribute was the old one. Now it takes 1.5 times their primary attribute as the new one.
Oh, wow.
So if that isn't a typo, then the E-Blade will always deal damage based on the enemy and not you. And if that's the case, then you can't really like use this super effectively on a high int hero because your stats don't matter at all.
Right.
I just find it really weird. Like, what do you buy this against? Terrorblade because he has a lot of agi? Or Pugna because Pugna has a lot of int? Like, are you specifically targeting stat gain heroes, or is it a typo? It's just weird, right?
Yeah, that is strange.
Very good against Centaur.
Yeah, that was my first thought, sadly. My boy.
So I don't know. I don't know how to place this item. I think, obviously, it has some insanely nice stats for casters. A lot of int, spell amp, spell lifesteal, because it has the Kaya components. And a lot of mana regen amp, 75%. So kind of like Bloodstone used to have the 100%. This is 75.
Right.
I don't know. It's strange. It might be a nice design, but I have a hard time like placing it right now until I see it.
Ag Shard can be purchased at 15 minutes. That is a pretty freaking big change.
Yep.
Do you think that there is a reason that there's even a time limit anymore? I know that part of it was, first of all, it was unique that you can't buy something for a certain amount of time, but also the balance weren't sure of.
Yeah.
But now that they've been out for a long time, if they made this purchasable at the beginning of the game, theoretically, would that matter?
I think some shards would be super broken because you could obtain them at like 4 minutes into lane or something like that.
You
like
get
certain shards that
Dawnbreaker, you get the BKB with Starbreaker, right? The first item.
Yeah, you know, like things like that. I just think that's insanely hard to balance.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
Okay, we'll skip some of these.
Sleep dart on Ricky, like someone is saying. Chat. Imagine that. 1,400 gold. I would start with Ricky with no items, and I would just get sleep dart, and I would run around killing people. That would be pretty bizarre.
What if it takes you 15 minutes to farm it, though? Anyway.
Well, if you just keep your passive gold and you don't die and you hit some creeps, you could get it minute 3 in lane. That would be wild.
That's pretty good. So Arcane Blink no longer gives CDR. So that was the first thing I was thinking of when they changed CDR not stacking.
I didn't like this design anyway.
Stacking. Now it grants 25% mana cost reduction and 20% debuff amplification. So
yeah,
debuff amplification is one of those mechanics that they're trying out on several things. Is it even in Feeble anymore? I literally can't remember what that skill does anymore, if I'm being honest.
It's been changed again, so we'll get there.
Okay, great. It's just never ending with that fucking skill.
It doesn't have debuff amp, though.
Okay. All right, let's skip some of these then. Move speed, Boots of Travel down by 10. Boots of Travel 2 down by 10 as well. But the TP channel time for Boots of Travel 2, only it's reduced by 1 second. That's pretty huge.
Pretty nice.
Might see a lot more of these now. Using bottle removes the learning. So you can only use bottle once after TPing to fill it up, which I think you and I were talking about that mechanic, whether you like it or not, in general.
I think it should be removed. I think it's okay if you bottle refill, but I think you shouldn't be able to use it at all.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know why this is now 1 use. Why shouldn't it just be 0? Like refilling the bottle is powerful enough on its own.
I think the reason is mid laners whine quite a bit.
Well, they whined about water runes and they didn't get changed, so.
But the bounties did, so water runes might be fine, honestly.
Maybe.
Okay, so this one, Bracer, Null Talisman. First of all, Null Talisman doesn't have spell amp anymore. It gives mana cost reduction. Bracer, Null Talisman, and Wraithband will double their bonuses at 25 minutes. Now, actually, let me ask you guys this.
Mm-hmm.
Does this mean minute 25 or after 25 minutes of having it?
It means minute 25 game time.
Okay.
So after 25 minutes, you can buy a Bracer and it's twice as good.
So I find this one to be the weirdest change that they've literally ever made in Dota, even though I don't think we can talk about how good it is. It's the most random ass thing ever.
Yep.
Do you agree with it's so strange. It's like, what the fuck? Why? Just buff it like a normal. I guess they just got sick of buffing it. It was too good. Everybody buys it every game. Like, what's the purpose of this exactly?
Okay, so I think what they're trying to do is they're like, oh, people buy this item and it always just ends up being trash and being sold. But to me, that's kind of the point of these items, right? Like they're... Okay, I'm going to use an RTS analogy here. so bear with me. You know, in RTS games, you can either rush or tech if you want to break it down to like really simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you rush, you have a very high impact early, but you develop your technology slower. And if you tech, you have a weaker army, but later on you have access to stronger units than the enemy. The whole point of these value propositions like Wraithband, Bracer, and Null is that you're rushing. And the point on buying Midas is that you're teching, right? Like you're investing in a later game scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the whole like rush aspect of these three items is way less impactful because now it is the rush item that also techs. So, like, I just think these items are too good. I don't know why they needed this. Like, to me, this is an insane value proposition. Hey, buy this item, and by the way, if you don't sell it, it's twice as good at 25 minutes. Like, holy shit.
Right.
You know? Like,
That's
if
a
I'm a
really
support,
good
I might start
analogy.
buying bracers now if I'm poor, just because I know I'm getting 10 strength when it's 25 minutes in. I can be super tanky on a support for like no gold. I don't know. Not a fan of, at least not of this way of implementing it. If you want to have items that like scale with time, there's probably an elegant way of doing it. This feels like shoehorned in. It's a bit brute force.
Yep. Fully agree.
And I also saw a really interesting build someone just mentioned in chat. Waga has been experimenting with Storm buying 5 nulls because 25 minutes in you have 40% mana cost reduction. How about that?
Huh.
Then you can just ball lightning all the time if you get an Arcane rune. It's almost free.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get some interesting builds with this. Overall, gut feel, not a fan. So, yeah.
All right, skipping some. Desolator gains 2, it lost 5 damage, but gains 2 damage if an enemy hero dies with the debuff with a maximum of 25. So essentially allows you to scale this a bit. It looks really weird in the inventory. It looks like a level 25 Desolator, and it's like, oh, it's just 25 damage. I mean, it's cool. I don't mind this. It's a
Isn't
little
this
weird,
a buff?
but yeah, this is 100% a buff. You just need 3 kills and it's better.
Does no need a buff?
I don't know. Okay, let's see. Diffusal is a big one. Recipe's been reworked. It now costs the Blade of Alacrity, Robe of the Magi, and 1,050 gold recipe. But as a result, the agility is down by 9, int down by 2, and melee illusion mana burn reduced by 4.
But the range is not changed.
The range, as
so
in
maybe
the usage?
maybe ranged heroes will buy Diffusal again, perhaps. But I don't think so.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The ranged illusions, yeah, true.
Yeah. I don't know if you can get this on Terrorblade with meta. It doesn't sound very good. I don't know. I think it's worse overall for the most part.
Okay. I have Scotty, some stat changes. We're skipping. Gem now has an active that allows you to see in a little area around. Basically getting rid of the drop the gem for quick vision type of deal and just implementing it into the gem itself, which is good. 12-second cooldown.
But it only sees invis units. It doesn't give vision.
Right. Wait, did it give vision when you put it on the ground, though?
Yes.
Oh.
It had a small ring of vision around it.
Yeah,
now
that's
it's just...
Either way, good change.
It's like a little mini scan that you have with you to check if there's wards, basically.
Okay. Healing Salve got nerfed a bit. Takes longer to heal. Which ones?
Pike got 5 buffs.
That's true. Cooldown by 3. Cast range by 100. Enemy cast range by 50. Attack range 10. And ally push speed by 300.
So it's just a lot better. Really.
Meteor Hammer got changed a bit, so the damage per second is lower from 90 to 60, and the stun duration is slightly lower by 0.25, but the impact radius has been increased by 75 from 315 to 400.
It is so much bigger. I don't know if you've seen it in the game.
I have not.
It is huge. And I don't know, like, I think this item is worse on, like, obviously OD, right? That would always just combo and hit it, but... It's easier to apply on a lot of heroes because you have a much higher chance of hitting the spell in general. Unlike someone like Treant, who usually bought it, it has a very big radius, so it's easy to land.
So, big item that we were discussing, Nullifier, no longer pierces magic immunity and no longer slows the enemy, no longer has a mana cost, which is whatever. So this is major nerf to the item.
Yep.
Necros
It's
rejoice,
so weird.
although buying a BKB on Necro is weird as fuck. But the slow is pretty big,
Yeah.
even though Force Staff gets... I'm trying to think of Necro's perspective. What the hell do you do still?
Buy a lot of move speed and run away.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
I don't know, man.
All right. Radiance is now a sacred relic and talisman of evasion. This is old school, right? It used to have
the relic
evasion.
part is.
So Radiance now, it's the same as before, except it gives 15% evasion, and then the blind effect that it gave is down from 17% to 10%, and the Shadow Demon thing is whatever, just one interaction. I like this. It just because it's nostalgic. This is how it kind of was like way back in Dota 1.
It used to be Sacred Relic plus Recipe, and then it gave the burn, your flat damage, and it gave... Did it give evasion back then? I think it just gave the damage.
No, it gave 18% evasion. Like
Okay,
way
you're
back
sure
in the
about
day.
this?
I am 90, let's say 90% sure.
Okay.
Because I don't think it blinded. It was just evasion for you. It didn't use to blind. I'm talking about Dota 1, by the way. In Dota 2, I think it's always been this way.
I mean, so basically the short version here is it's worse for your team, but better for you, right?
Yep.
So
I like it, and it can be disassembled, which is cool.
that's true.
Refresher Orb gives less regen. By the way, okay, we're almost done with the items. Anything else here? Swift Blink no longer gives attack damage and attack speed. It now gives 35 agility when used. That's interesting.
So it's a nerf to all the non-agility cores that bought this for value, right? I don't know if this is a good change or not. But
I don't know if you're a better person to ask, but I'm shocked that BKB was not touched. Like maybe it's nerfed in other ways that are not direct, but the fact that you can refresh BKB still, the fact that people are buying second item BKB in literally every pro game on 2 to 3 cores every single game as the second item, I think is unacceptable in terms of like the interesting factor of the game. Like that's just boring as fuck.
yeah, I don't know if that's going to change in this patch, even without changing BKB or not. Because the dynamics will change with economy, with access to farm, etc. With access to ending the game. It was really easy to buy BKB second item last patch because of how much gold you got and how quickly. And I don't know yet how much you get hurt on your economy. But if things get slowed down a lot, getting second item BKB might be worse. Because the timing doesn't line up as well with levels, with Roche, with all this. Like, there's like very much an underlying... a lot of underlying factors.
It's impossible to actually guess. But considering we'll get to how we feel about the patch as a whole. I think overarching wise, not a lot has changed, in my opinion. A lot of small things. But anyway, neutral items, I feel like we can skip most of these. A lot of the tier 1s got nerfed.
Yeah.
And a lot of the tier 2s got buffed. And
I saw like the start of that list and I was like, fuck yeah, they're just nerfing every neutral item.
Yeah,
and then I just got disappointed after like 3 items.
Like things like pupils, I'm shocked. Like I know it's only one stat. This is a really good item. Like what does that need to buff? It's crazy.
I think they're literally doing this based on item win rates.
Yeah, probably.
Like, a lot of this feels like a machine patch. Like if that makes sense. Like this is just stats.
You would know, I guess. Yeah.
It's just statistics that are deciding that these items are too good or too bad based on win rates. I would have liked... It's fine that some of them get better relatively to others. I think all of them should have been nerfed. Literally every neutral item should have been nerfed. And then some of them should have just been nerfed more than others to rebalance. I still think these items make the game too fast and they do too much for your heroes. So, Book of Shadows +1 all attributes. Like, I was laughing out loud when I saw that change. It's a tier 5 item that gets +1 all stats.
Yeah, it's great.
Pirate Hat's 15 move speed. It's so random.
That one is crazy, by the way. Pirate Hat, the bounty rune is crazy on that thing. I cannot believe the win rate would not be good enough to justify a nerf, if anything. That's
I don't know.
insane.
I guess it isn't. But like I've said before, my priority would be to remove these items entirely. I still don't think they make the game better. But now that you're not doing that, nerfing them would be a good step in the right direction because they have too much game impact, and that also didn't really happen.
I don't agree with that, but I understand why you feel that way. I respect
and I know at this point, like, it's probably also a little bit of sunk cost fallacy, right? Like, you've spent so much time and effort with these items. If you just trash all of them, that might feel like, holy shit, why did we, like, this was so much work, and it was. But not every system you implement in the game is going to be good. I don't know if I'm in the minority or the majority here, to be honest. I know a lot of people like these. I know some people dislike them.
I mean,
it's probably majority likes them, I would guess. But I think a lot of people that like them would also agree that they do too much and would like them even if they were 75% as good, right? Or something like that.
That's
across the board.
Definitely, majority of people like neutrals. I even like them now.
Yeah,
but that's because they've been.
Would you agree that they're too good?
I think they're fine as is now.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, we are at two completely different skill levels, so I can't even judge.
I don't think there's just. I don't think the skill level is what gives you that, like, how to say, perspective. I think there's a lot of really high skilled players that like them the way they are.
Noobs like getting free shit. So if the free shit's better, that's great.
Yeah, but it's free shit for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also free for the enemy, so
that's fine. It makes you feel good, you know. When I find that Mindbreaker on Pango, I get excited, Cinder. Not gonna lie.
Wouldn't you also get excited if it was slightly worse?
Probably yes, but it has been slightly worse, right? They have nerfed all of them at some point. It's just this is the level that they're comfortable with, and you want it to be nerfed to a point where they don't exist.
I mean, that's my favorite, is to remove them. But I understand, like, at this point, you know, like, a lot of people really like it. It's a lot of effort. Fine. But the relative game impact these items have when you find them, like, let's put a monetary value on some of these items, right? And think about how much gold would you pay for this item if you could buy it, okay? How much would you pay for Broom Handle?
150 gold?
For 4 armor. A chainmail costs that.
I don't want an item that doesn't upgrade into anything. I'm not going to spend that much.
Chainmail costs 550 gold and it gives 4 armor. Broom Handle costs 0 gold and it gives 4 armor, 8 damage, and 50 attack range.
But you can't upgrade it into anything. It's stuck there. As is.
But, like, as a value proposition at that point in time, this item is worth, like, 500 gold.
If a bracer is 500 gold and it doubles in value at 25 minutes, then, you know.
I mean, obviously, it's really hard to put a price on a lot of these items, but I think you know where I'm coming from, right? Like,
I get it.
The relative net worth you have at the time when you get this item, it's a huge boost to your hero. It does so much.
I mean, this is one of the few instances where I totally get where you're coming from. I just disagree. Like, for my enjoyment fact, like, I agreed with you originally. I did not like neutral items, but as they've kind of grown on me / been nerfed, I don't have a problem with them anymore, honestly. Okay. And I've always loved tier 5 items. You know me. Crazy, chaotic shit.
That's way too wild. Okay, anyway.
All right, so we're going to skip a lot of heroes here, okay? But let's talk about the heroes. Anything that's a rework shard, let's talk about, which Abaddon. Yeah. So causes Mistcoil to deal Abaddon's attack damage on impact, applying on hit effects, and increases Curse of Avernus base slow by 10%.
I'm assuming it does this in addition to the Mistcoil damage, right? Not that it replaces it.
Yes,
it doesn't say that there.
The old one would apply the Curse of Avernus on any of your spells that you've, like, if the Aphotic Shield breaks, it'll apply it. And it also did the slow. So the slow is the same, but now applies your attack damage on. I'm very interested to try this hero with, like, Radiance or some shit. Like the old school days for me.
Mistcoil is a very low cooldown ability. It's 5.5. So you can use this a lot.
And I
makes your curse better.
Does his, I'm just going off of, I don't know if you're in the game. Doesn't he have a talent that gives AoE Mistcoil?
Yeah, 25. And
then Aghanim Scepter allows Mistcoil to just proc constantly with the ult. That sounds...
Yep.
Get a Daedalus?
I think Core Abaddon could be a thing with this build. I think it might actually be legit.
It sounds crazy. Definitely.
Especially if you get the shard for free, right? You get it from Roche.
True. Okay, moving on. I'm skipping Alchemist. I'm skipping Ancient Apparitioneux. Anti-Mage. Mana Break now stacks with Diffusal Blade, which was nerfed.
Meh.
And additionally, Mana Break will slow enemies' movement speed by up to 40% for 0.75 seconds when it burns all its target's mana, and illusions also apply this effect. So if they're completely out of mana... Okay, Let me tell you something, Cinderin. Remember when we talked about mana bars being a thing?
Yep.
And a lot of people, like obviously we can talk about the cast animation like with Torn and whatnot, but a lot of people, the first thing they think of is AM will know how much mana they have, so they can just mana. Well, now you do know because they're slowed when they're out of mana.
True.
Could this be a precursor to mana bars being introduced?
That's a bit of
to
a stretch,
Dota?
I think.
I know it's definitely a stretch, but it seems good. Seems like a buff for sure.
It's really strong in lane. A lot of the time, AM is playing these lanes where he drains the opponent, and now he can actually run them down if he's ahead with a support in lane.
Right. So to be clear, there's no cooldown on this, right? So if they're out of mana, every time you hit them, it's going to be a 0.75 second slow.
Every time.
But 40%, I'm not. How strong is 40%? Like, what is Nullifier? Or Nullifier doesn't have that anymore, actually.
Scotty is. Let me see what Scotty is. 25%.
Okay. All right, moving on.
On melee heroes, sorry. On melee heroes, it's 25%. On ranged heroes, it's 50.
Okay. Arc Warden, only thing I'm going to mention is Tempest Double now has a 50% attack damage penalty if more than 2,000 units away from Arc Warden. Praise Gaben. But his 25
this hero
talent...
didn't deserve a nerf, though.
Shut up, Cinderin. His 25 talent, Tempest Double, has a 50% CDR. Which at that point probably is whatever.
I hate this hero as much as the next guy because I'm a support player, right? But realistically speaking, in terms of like win rate and popularity, this hero didn't... So techies deserved a rework, not because the hero was overpowered, but because it was stupid. This hero wasn't overpowered. I mean, you could also argue it's stupid. Fair enough. But...
Arc Warden is stupid.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Okay, moving on to Axe, which I was very excited reading this one. Battle Hunger now deals physical damage. It's been rescaled to be less damage over time, 25. But in addition to the 25 static, you get 1x Axe's armor. So whatever your current armor is how much damage it is dealing, essentially. No longer grants movement speed to Axe. Only slows the enemies. This wording is terrible, by the way. Only slows them if they're running away from you, essentially. Right? And the slow has been rescaled to be a lot stronger. So 35% at level 4, where it was 15% before.
When are you facing Axe? Is it
if
within the 180 degrees of looking somewhat towards him?
I mean, that's if it's global,
I'm
then
assuming.
I don't know how it works when it's global.
It's probably literally 180 degrees, right?
Sure. So very major slow for like if they're running away. The shard has been reworked so that, I mean, we don't need to read all of this, but essentially the way that it was working before is it would be counterproductive to buy blade mail and shard. That is not the case anymore, which is great.
Yeah.
And then onto the cooler changes, Culling Blade. Anytime you kill an enemy hero, you gain a permanent armor for Axe, which of course synergizes directly with how Battle Hunger deals damage now. And in addition to this, if you remember what the Aghanim Scepter does, because I do, because I love it, anytime you cast Battle Hunger, it steals armor from enemies. But in addition, anytime you Berserker's Call, it applies Battle Hunger to everybody. So it's stealing all that armor from them while the Battle Hunger is active and applies it to you, which in turn means your Battle Hunger is dealing crazy amounts of damage. This is very fucking cool. I like this a lot.
I feel like this hero's win rate should be way up. Let's see. I
did try a game with it. Didn't go so well because I forced the build of armor only against very heavy magic damage. I did not buy BKB because I'm an idiot. I refused to buy it. But theoretically, I like this one a lot. Culling Blade was also changed to do pure damage and pierces magic immunity, and it's increased of damage overall. So, like... this hero is now legit a minus armor strat hero, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like
I think he's very buffed with this, and I think he's very fun. I like the design, but I think the numbers are off, but we'll see. But it seems like a fun way to change the hero.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Skipping Bane. Okay, Bat Rider.
No, we're not. We're not skipping Bane.
Go ahead. Take it away.
Because here is your new least favorite mechanic introduced, chat. Here it comes, or chat, or viewers, or listeners, everybody. Enfeeble now reduces cast range by 30%.
Bane is like the guinea pig of Ice Frog, I feel like.
Does that just not sound like a miserable mechanic?
Yeah.
You need to start questioning the range of your spells now as a new skill as a player. It's not only Bane that has this. Tinker also has it, by the way, when we get there. So, you know I never was a fan of status resistance. I've got more accustomed to it, and I hate it less than I used to. But this is a whole other different ballpark for me. I think I will never like this, no matter what. I just can't see myself getting to like cast range reduction.
I'd be interested to know the stats on who is what skill or what hero has been changed the most, because Enfeeble specifically comes to mind as
been like 2,000
a top
iterations.
5, like to the point where I fucking cast TI with you. I didn't know what Enfeeble did. Like every time people picked it, I would have to look at it again just to see, because they've changed it so many fucking times, and it's just
Enfeeble is really
it's
weird.
too much.
But okay, what do you think? What does your gut tell you when you hear cast range reduction?
I mean, it's definitely feels bad.
Like, I just don't like the concept at all. I feel like it's like,
do you
know,
like
there's
damage?
these things where you know things, you feel things about a game. Dota is a game of feel, right? And that's also the problem with status resist. But you could argue that it's a skill thing where it's like, well, if you play a lot, you get more of a feel for how much does it matter that a hero has Sanjin Yasha, etc., etc. And that's okay. But with cast range reduction,
you also have status bars for that. There's a literal visual indicator for status.
There's visual.
Resist.
True. Also true. But like with cast range reduction, think about how much of your muscle memory just gets fucked when this is in the game. Like, if you're enfeebled, you don't know how your hero works. And I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I feel like I will be lost. I won't know what I can and can't do. Oh, you're enfeebled on Clockwork? Wonder how long your hook shot is. You know, like, I don't know. I'm not a fan. Okay, let's move on. I'm just not a fan.
Man, that's the angers I've heard you in quite a while.
I don't like this mechanic. I hope it doesn't catch on.
I don't really care that much because Enfeeble is just going to get changed next patch anyway. So
yeah, then Tinker can have it.
Batrider reworked his shard. It used to be the double flame break, which is now a talent, I believe. Flaming Lasso no longer disarms you, and your attacks apply 1 stack of sticky napalm. So this is fucking crazy, by the way. This is fucking insane. I was thinking Mask of Madness on this hero, which has been purchased even before this because of just the movement speed aspect. But apparently this works with illusion. So Manta style, this is insane. Nobody's going to convince me this is bad. Buying those weird ass items. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it gives a new like path of playing the hero, basically. I think the mom aspect sounds really strong, but you obviously have to remember then you can't apply napalm, right? In the meantime.
I mean, if you have attack speed, why would you want to cast sticky napalm?
Yeah, that's true. With the shard, you just hit enough.
Yeah.
That's true. I think mom sounds pretty crazy, actually. You Firefly lasso, flame break, and then you mom, you just kill them. Yeah. That's probably pretty wild, actually. Now that you say it, it sounds crazy.
Because at first when I read this, I thought, okay, it only means it applies sticky napalm while they're flaming lasso. That's not the case. Your attacks for the rest
whenever you hit
the rest of the game, your attacks will apply sticky napalm. It's fucking insane.
It might be too good. Maybe that'll get changed.
15 minutes. That's when you can buy it. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Okay, no beast. Okay, Bloodseeker. Aghanim Scepter used to be the double rupture. Now that's a 25 talent. Now he gets Blood Mist. Bloodseeker sprays his blood in an area, taking 5% max HP in pure damage every second, while dealing 5% of a unit's max HP to enemies within a 450 radius, and slowing his enemies by 25%. While Blood Mist is active, Thirst healing is increased by 50%. And it has a cool... So you activate it, and you cannot turn it off for 4 seconds. And at that point, you can choose to turn it off or keep it toggled, where your life is draining, but your heals are increased with Thirst. It's interesting. Very interesting.
This seems really strong against tanky heroes, right? Because you can kill their team with them.
Right.
Like, you cast this on a hero that has a lot of stats or like have bought heart or whatever. the damage is significant if their heroes are nearby, but the radius is small, so 450 radius is actually kind of big, isn't it?
Plus, he's fast
Yeah,
in
that's pretty
general,
big.
right?
Yeah. I think this might be good. It's one of those. I don't really have a strong opinion yet because I haven't seen it in play, and it sounds like it might be situationally really good, but not like broken. But then maybe sometimes it is just totally bonkers. I'm gonna have to wait and see. But my overall feel about this is you buy this if you're playing against a tanky hero that you can kill his own team with. Sounds pretty strong then, probably.
I wonder, maybe somebody could get us a video on this, what this looks like in the Chinese client. It's called Blood Mist. I've tried it. It's blood everywhere, Cinderin. Blood is not allowed on the Chinese client. What the fuck does it look like?
Maybe it's just fog.
The
sort of
fog mist? Sure.
Toxic fumes instead of blood. I don't know.
All right. Okay, Brewmaster. This is an interesting one. So first I read this. I was like, what the fuck does this even mean? Casting Cinder Brew now also drenches Brewmaster himself in his brew. Brewmaster doesn't get any negative effects. So after reading that, I'm like, what the fuck is that change? It makes no sense at all. But Drunken Brawler has been completely reworked. He gets 3 stances that he can just toggle whenever he wants. So the first stance is the Earth. It's an elemental thing, which I feel like they were watching my mod recently because we were messing with elements. But anyway, so the Earth stance gives you 7 armor and 20% magic resist, and the effect is tripled if you're Cinder Brewed.
Yep.
The Storm stance gives you 30% evasion, 11% movement speed, and the effect is tripled if you're Cinder Brewed. And the Fire stance gives you 25% chance to deal 190% crit, and the chance is tripled if you're Cinder Brewed. Also, for his ult, the Shard no longer grants Brewmaster's attacks to the Void Bruling, which I didn't even remember it did because nobody buys the Shard for some reason. That's the disarming guy. But now, when you get a Shard, you get a 4th stance, the Void stance, which grants him 20% status resist and 25% movement slow for 2 seconds on attacks, effects of which are tripled with Cinder Brew. Okay, before you get started, Cinderin, conceptually, this is fucking really cool.
Yep.
This might be the worst thing they've ever added to Brewmaster. I don't know. Like, I don't know how good it is. It just sounds really cool. What do you think?
I think the concept is really fun and interactive. I think the numbers are off. Am I not saying that to like everything that's Magic except cast?
Yeah.
So yeah, the cast
clear,
range reduction is still.
If you're tripling all the effects, you get 60% magic resist, you get 90% evasion, you get what is 24 times 3? 90. Wait, it's times 3.
72.
72. Thank you. NA math, percent chance to crit, and then 60% status resist.
So for context, this spell lasts for 5 seconds. And it has a cooldown of 11, Cinder Brew, that is. So it has about a 50% uptime, but then you also need to account for cast points. So probably like 40% of the time you can have this. I think, to me, this sounds really fun, but what makes it so crazy is that you can just adjust to any situation, right?
Yeah.
It makes your hero extremely flexible. Oh, you're being chased by a physical damage hero? Well, just give yourself 90% evasion for 5 seconds and 33% move speed.
It's
Get
like
away.
It's like a very basic invoker, right? Where you don't have to invoke. It's just you toggle it real quick.
Yeah. I think the abilities are probably too good, but I don't dislike the idea of this concept. I think it sounds fun, actually. It sounds like there's a lot of outplay potential and a lot of things you can do. It gives you a lot of... It also makes the hero less about the ult. I think that's what their goal was, is that Brewmaster is literally Primal Split, let's be honest, right? So now he has other utility to offer. He can like be a fighter. Like maybe you can play Brew as a core that doesn't just go ult, but maybe you can like do stuff with BKB and a damage item, or it gives more different valid item builds. I think that's also what they were trying to do with Bat Rider, right? By giving him the shard, is that you can play Bat Rider with right click. Now you can play Brewmaster with right click. That seems to be the theme, is to take these heroes that are very one-dimensional and give them some more depth. And I'm a fan of that. I'm okay with that, but yeah, don't know about the numbers yet at all.
Yep, agreed. I like it. Okay. skipping Bristleback, skipping Brood, I think. Centaur, my boy. Okay, Stampede, the Aghanim Scepter. 40% damage reduction it gave before is now 30%, but the Scepter now leashes affected enemies for the duration of the debuff. This is very strong, Cinderin. I know it's not a stun, but when it was a stun, I was the 6th best Centaur in the world. That's how good of a skill it was, okay?
Yes.
The Scepter's really fucking good.
Yeah,
I think this is a buff, mostly.
Yeah.
Okay. Chaos Knight deals more damage to creeps now with the crit. Chen is interesting. So Hand of God does less HP initial heal, but now you get healing over time as well. It's an interesting change. So it ends up being more than before if they don't die instantly.
Yeah. Way more, actually.
What do you think of Clockwork talent, just out of curiosity? Power Cogs leash units inside at 20.
It's really, really strong, this talent.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was my preferred hero for the hero, my preferred way for the hero to get buffed, if it were to get a buff, because it's like very late game oriented with level 20, but this talent is incredible. Like there's so many heroes that you would cog in and they can just get away. You can't get away now. And then you have the 25 talent that gives you spell immunity as well if you want that one instead of the other one. But it definitely gives a lot of potential for the hero in later stages of the game.
CM's Arcane Aura now allows you to...
Giga buff.
It grants 24 mana to all allies within 1200 radius whenever CM casts a spell, but not items. That's cool. So Arcane Boots just inherently are better on CM than anybody else. That's cool.
Because she gets more mana pool, or?
No, because she's giving them more mana.
No, it says not items.
Fuck. I literally just read that.
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
But she's a lot better in lane, right? Like this hero just got flat out buffed. Crystal Nova is way better. Arcane Aura is just extra free mana, and you have better talents.
What is the
strong?
What is the thing that's mana loss reduction? Is that part of her Arcane Aura? I can't remember anymore.
Did that even still exist anymore? That concept, or was that removed? Mana loss reduction.
Who knows anymore? Okay, moving on. Let's see. Skipping Darkseer. Trying to remember if Dark Willow had anything crazy. Doesn't look like it.
Wait, I'm on Shadow Realm is something. Like, she does a little bit more damage with Bedlam, but got nerfed otherwise. I think it's a bit weird.
Dawnbreaker's interesting, though. So the Shard also gives you free movement to Dawnbreaker. So I got my wish of less clunky, Cinderin.
Yeah, you can cross terrain, and you are not rooted, right?
Right.
If you know, beforehand you were
360
just stuck.
now.
No, it says your orientation is still locked while swinging, right?
Yeah, but you can move your hero in a circle, is what I mean. Like you can completely change
but the
direction.
orientation stays. Okay, got it, yeah.
So you can start casting one way and end up 180 degrees, or even more, if you want. It's really cool.
Have you tested this, how it looks?
Yes.
Okay.
You can end up in the same spot you started, if you want.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
I like it.
And then the damage changes, I think overall it's more damage to the swipes and less damage to the smash, right? So it's more rewarding to hit more connective hits than only hitting the final one or something. I don't know if this might somewhat even out, because when you look at like the level 10 talent, 25 swipe / smash damage means that's a total of maximum 100, because it's 3 swings and, it's 75. 2 swings and a smash, and beforehand it was just 30 on the swipe, so that was 60, right? So the total damage with the talent is higher than before, I think. I haven't done all the math. It's pretty similar for the most part.
Dazzle now has 2 ultimates.
Oh my god, this hero.
Good Juju and Bad Juju. Also reworked the Scepter. So good Juju with the Scepter now also reduces all Dazzle's item cooldowns by 50% and can be cast on an ally to reset their item cooldowns.
Why?
So good Juju, whenever Dazzle casts a spell, obviously the cooldowns are reduced, as we just said. And bad juju, whenever a unit is affected by one of Dazzle's ability, they lose the armor. So very interesting change to
I
Dazzle.
don't like the scepter.
This is one that's like I have to see it to really see how good it is, you know? I'm sure there's going to be some abuse.
You've seen Refresher Orb, right? Yeah, it's that, but for your ally, okay?
So does it work on BKB? Does it work on Refresher?
Yes. No.
So BKB.
It works
yes.
exactly like Rearm, but on an ally. Think of it that way.
Okay.
So
Well, but it's just
you can imagine the
it's just their
possibilities
items.
here.
It's just their items.
Yeah, sorry, not yeah. They're items. So you can refresh BKB, you can refresh Satanic, you can refresh like it's mainly the BKB, right? That you can just refresh their entire inventory.
Ooh, Eon Disc.
Except Refresher.
That's actually pretty crazy late game scenarios.
There's just, I guess the biggest things are refreshing your allies' BKB and refreshing your allies' Hex, right?
Mm.
Those are probably the two biggest ones, and Satanic. Like, maybe this isn't as wild as I think it is, but Dazzle sounds crazy buffed.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
And so good juju for yourself just initially, like you just get a new spell right here, but you lost your passive CDR. But when you get Ags, you get a really strong version of that. Plus, but it's only items, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like it's entirely possible I'm overrating this. I think a lot of people when they read this were like, "Holy shit, Dazzle is super strong." And my gut feel is the same as well.
It feels like Ags
all this item cooldown stuff is crazy, but who knows?
It
Maybe
feels
it's not
like
as.
Ags is required now, as well.
You also
it was
just got better spells, right? Like Poison Touch just got better and it has lower cooldown. Shallow Grave just got Healing Amp that it didn't have before. Shadow Wave cost less mana on higher levels with a slight cooldown nerf on max level only. It's just like it just seems better overall. I think. I think the big upside to this change is that the hero will be more fun to play for people. It will feel. I think that's also what they're trying to do is to give the hero more of a. Like beforehand, Dazzle was holy shit, what a nice clutch grave, and that was his like only really cool play, right? Now maybe you can be clutch with the eggs, and with the item cooldown reduction with good juju, you can also. Yeah, I think you get the idea.
Yep. Moving on. Doom. I remember having something cool. So Devour now grants Doom 7 armor at the highest level while digesting a creep. Very nice. I like.
For reasons.
It used to give HP regen. They got rid of it. Now it gives armor. See if they get rid of that.
Yep. Armor is the theme of this patch for multiple heroes.
Yeah.
We had Axe as well. There's more further down.
All right. Earth Spirit's very complicated. It's mostly numbers, though. Nothing like inherently changed.
Mostly numbers. It's the same hero. The biggest single change here, I think, is the Enchant Remnant having quadruple cast range on allies. Went from 125 to 500. And then it's 175 on enemies, right?
That's the Ags, right?
Yeah. The Ags is so much better.
Yeah, that was the one that was melee. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, pretty much. It was 125, right? So yeah, melee. Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite a lot better.
Elder Titan is an interesting one. Adds a second sub ability for Ancestral Spirit. Basically allows you to move the spirit towards the target location. So just quality of life, essentially.
Yeah. I'm assuming you can't use this if you're silent, so you need to look out for that.
Ember Spirit no longer deals reduced damage to creep for Sleight of Fist. Can you tell me how that's not extremely good?
That's wild, I think. Yeah, I think that's extremely good too.
I was
think the hero just.
expecting a nerf after, but they didn't really.
I feel like he got buffed. I don't know. Like,
yeah. I feel like I'm missing
he farms
something.
a lot faster with this. Now he can just clear waves and jungle way better. Flame Guard doesn't give you magical damage immunity for a certain amount, so you can kill him through Flame Guard with spells, but they only deal 30% damage. But it absorbs a bit more in total, especially on level 1, percentage-wise. No, actually on all levels, it's a lot more.
Okay.
Or, nah, not that much. Never mind, I take that back. I misread it. It's like 10%. It's not that much.
Enchantress Impetus now deals double damage to creeps, and a lot of these spells are chained.
It's
like
weird.
Spirit Breaker charge, CK crit. It's very random. I guess ways to help them farm a little bit. It's understandable. This one's like the weirder one of all of them, I think.
Yeah, why does it deal bonus damage to illusions? It's a bit strange. Okay.
Midnight Pulse deals damage based on current HP instead of max. So it's been, I would say, this
really strong when heroes are full HP.
Right,
like,
but you can't kill now with it, right?
Right. It doesn't kill, but like, let's say all of the aspects of Midnight Pulse that aren't for killing enemy heroes, but for like high ground defense, for Roshan control. When the enemy team sieges high ground and you drop Midnight Pulse, they take so insanely much damage in the beginning. Like, I think this deals more damage to the enemy hero until they've taken about 40%, and then it deals less. So on high HP heroes, it's very, very strong.
Right.
I like this change. I actually think it's interesting, but we'll see if it turns out to be annoying.
Okay, skipping a bunch of heroes here, it seems.
Yep.
Nope, Hoodwink's not interesting. Huskar Berserker's Blood now grants magic resist. So going back to old Huskar now, it feels like. What the fuck? It's like, okay,
big buff.
He hasn't been picked in 2 years. Let's give him his old skill back. Except this might be better now overall. The magic resist used to be like 90-something%, right? But it didn't have all the other benefits.
It was stupid.
But now it has like all these other benefits in addition to magic resist. So this is crazy good.
Yep. He's much better.
Invoker.
This might be the single biggest hero buff actually in this patch. Together with Meepo, we'll get there. It's one of them at least.
I won't lie, Meepo, I literally just skipped. So that'll be a new one for me. Io, its shard is reworked. So that's the one that's stunned on Tether. Now passively grants Io 10% spell lifesteal and increases overcharged spell amp by 10% and causes it to also share Io's current spell lifesteal with any tethered units. So
really strong for caster combos like Lesh.
Yep, Lesh, Lena.
It's insane with Lesh. My God.
I still like it though because it's not always the right clicker then, right?
Yeah.
Gives you more options. So
at the same time, this one kind of feels more pigeonholed than the old one because the old one was, okay, if you're tethered to anything you stun, this one is you only buy this if you're with casters, right? It's useless for
I don't see a problem with that.
It's a bit more
You want shards to be purchased every game?
No, and it also wasn't before. It was purchased often, of course. It was good. It was very good even. I don't know.
Okay. Jakiro.
I would let me rephrase. I think I would rather have the shard be worse, but then also do something for other carries, right? So it could give like half the values, but then it also gives attack speed, or you get the idea. Like something else. It feels a little bit weird. But
Juggernaut, I just want to mention the level 15 talent. He gets an extra second on Blade Fury now. That's kind of cool. Also gets Blade Dance Lifesteal.
That's
40%.
A weird talent.
It's a very weird one. 40% Blade Dance Lifesteal at level 20. I think the other one is it Blade Fury related as well?
Right below.
Oh, yeah. So 150 DP. That's right. So his first 3 talents have Blade Fury choices, right?
What does the first one have?
It's the AoE. I love the AoE one. So, yeah that's cool. Okay. Kunkka X marks now.
You skipped Caudle?
I mean, sometimes heroes don't interest me in the slightest. So
Caudle got buffed a lot.
Okay, move. X marks has a talent, interestingly enough. 25% X marks the spot movement speed. Affects enemies negatively and allies positively. I think it's cool. I don't know if it's good, but I'm glad that they're doing like unique talents,
It costs you 16 strength though.
True. What was it before? That's what it was before. What's the other choice though? What's the 15?
100 torrent damage. Okay. So like the torrent damage one is still good if you go like Ags or if you play support Kunkka, but
they're getting rid of these generic talents. So like these are going to go
I'm a fan of that. I'm glad they're getting rid of the flat stat ones, but I don't know if this is a very appealing one. Like if you cast it on allies so that they can, or yourself, so you can go and kill creep waves, it's nice to have 25% move speed so then you can cast it from further away and be safer. but slowing enemies with X mark it doesn't sound that good to me. Maybe I'm underestimating it though. It's like you X mark them and it's easier to stay on target and hit them before they get pulled back.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't get to reset position as much, but you're still pulling them back, right? So like how much does the slow really matter?
Yeah, it's definitely strange.
It's a bit weird.
I look at it more as an offensive thing. It sounds like it has some cool stuff. Legion Commander, reworked Shard. So no more BKB for press the attack. Oh, wait, that's the 25 talent now. Fuck. Reworked Shard, Legion Commander gains 4 armor for every hero hit with overwhelming odds and 0.5 armor for each creep. Increases overwhelming odds duration by 8 seconds. So kind of the axe treatment, except with a spell that everybody hates, overwhelming odds.
Yeah. It has 0 downtime. It lasts 15 seconds and has 15 seconds cooldown if you get the shard. I don't think the shard is very good though. And I might be underestimating it, but if you think about, especially in higher levels of play with positioning, like how many times do you hit 3 or 4 heroes with overwhelming odds? That's one thing. And the other thing is you could buy a plate mail for 1,400 gold, right? It costs the same as the shard.
True.
And it gives 10 armor. So
but now you can get both.
If you do,
for 2,800.
and you can upgrade it. That's true. You can get both. But the plate mail also has the potential of being upgraded into something cool. For this, I think it's mainly the duration that's a selling point because you get a lot of move speed, right? So with the shard, you can stay in the fight and you can keep being on top of heroes. Yeah, that's what I think is really powerful about it, is the chasing potential.
I agree. The move speed being constant is great. Yeah. But this just, like, the aspect of the armor makes this even more clunky than before. Because now, theoretically, you want to duel somebody. This is a pub, not pro games. You get in position, you press the attack, you blink in, you blade mail, whatever the fuck. Now you have to overwhelming fucking odds to gain that buff. Like, come on, man. I would be fine deleting this ability.
I think I might be underrating this shard, actually. It might be really good. Now that I look at it some more.
We'll see. Yeah, now that I'm talking shit about it, it makes you like it more. Makes sense.
No, you talk shit about the design, but I think about like the power of it.
That's true, yeah. Might be right. Okay, moving on.
Lesh just gets 3 damage. Okay, nice.
That's
really good. Big buff.
Life Suit, I found this one to be interesting. Open Wounds. So that is the shard. When a target afflicted by open wounds is dealt 500 damage, the wounds will fester, which is a very Jenkins word, and spread to a random other enemy within 700 radius, prioritizes heroes. That's cool, lore-wise. The shard is criminally underrated, by the way. I think it's extremely good. It does, is it like percentage-based damage with each attack, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's something like that.
Let me look it up. I don't even remember the shard.
It's something you rarely see, although we rarely see life stealers, I guess, but it's
life stealer rends an enemy unit, slowing the victim's move speed and allowing all allies to regain health for a percentage of the damage they deal to the unit. All damage dealt with steal life, including damage from spells. The victim recovers movement speed over the duration. Deals 2% of the target's max health per attack on the target from real heroes.
Okay. Real.
Yeah, real heroes, it specifically says that. So illusions don't work, right? And maybe clones don't either. I don't know if clones work. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I like it.
You skipped Lich, didn't you? You got like
I
3 buffs or something.
Go ahead. Speak your mind.
You got Agi buff, you got turn rate buff, he lost some int, but Frost Blast is stronger. Frost Shield does damage way faster on the first tick. So it's more reliable to get the slow on enemies, right? Beforehand, when you cast Frost Shield on someone, it would take a while before the first pulse came out. Now the pulse comes out instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And Chain Frost is cheaper. So a lot of like quality for Lich, except the int gain decrease.
Very nice. Lena, who
Lena
had
is very
the
different,
weirdest shard I think in the game was the Laguna Blade, like bounces or whatever. That was not bounces. Like,
it was just a line.
That was obviously one that was going to get changed, and it finally did. So with this new shard, Lena's spells deal 10 more damage for each Fiery Soul charge. And Fiery Soul was changed to have, like, it's been nerfed, but you can get more charges now. So it went from 3 to 7. I'm trying to understand how this is good. The shard, that is. Am I wrong in saying that it's doing 70 more damage per spell?
Yep.
Is that not fucking garbage? What am I missing here?
if you keep the Fiery Soul charges running all the time, it gives you quite a lot more clear speed, right? On like waves, camps, this kind of stuff. But I'm also not sure. Like, I don't know about buying this.
So,
However, the different Fiery Soul, I think we need to cover that as well.
Yeah.
So Fiery Soul has 7 max charges. The stack duration is 3 seconds longer, so it's up to 15. And then when you do have it maxed out, it's about the same bonuses as before. It's slightly more attack speed and the same move speed. Now gains a charge whenever a spell damages an enemy. If you Dragon Slave a creep wave, you get 4 stacks right away. So beforehand, or 5 if it's a siege wave, right? Beforehand, you got 1 per spell cast. Now you can always almost max Fiery Soul with 2 spells you can, right? If it's on a lot of targets. If there's a stack in the jungle, you cast 1 spell, you're fully Fiery Souled up for 15 seconds. It's like, I think it's more like situational about playing around enemies and camps and less about, lol, I'm going to cast my stun on the ground to keep Fiery Soul running, right? You have to hit something to refresh it now. But
yeah, I like
15-second duration, you can probably find something to hit most of the time. So
I like the changes. I still don't understand why anybody would spend 1,400 gold on the shard. I don't get it.
Yeah, we'll see. It's hard to place for me, but I think the Fiery Soul changes are actually pretty interesting. It's like more around conditionals of how many targets you have rather than just mindlessly spamming.
A lot of strats in Atomic War are changing now because of this, unless they don't change it. That's a big one. Okay. Lion Mana Drain now reveals invisible units. Great.
Okay.
Lone Druid, whatevs.
Huge buff, Lone.
Oh,
you can't just whatevs that, dude.
It's one of the least interesting.
Sure, but it's probably
very biased, so go ahead.
Top 3 most buffed hero in the patch. Plus 8 damage on Spirit Bear. That's crazy.
Okay.
It's like a hero receiving 8 base damage. When do you ever see that in a changelog? The bear is what last hits with you in lane. And he harasses and everything. This hero is so much better, it's crazy. In lane.
Okay.
And just have 8 damage all game, right? Entangle duration is better on level 1 and 2. Slightly worse later. The damage interval is shorter. I don't know if that really matters much. It deals damage immediately when you apply it. I also don't know if that matters much. And then the entangle damage has been rescaled to be slightly lower. But yeah, the 8 Spirit Bear base damage is huge. And then also now Spirit Link just shares armor between the hero and the bear. They both get more armor. So the hero just constantly has more armor with Spirit Link, and it has 8 more base damage on the bear. His win rate is going to go up by somewhere between 5 to 10%, I think. No joke.
5 to 10%.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Wow.
I really think so.
All right.
Yeah. So, okay, so Spirit Link is a passive, right? So when Spirit Link is level 4, 25% of your armor permanently is on the bear, and 25% of the bear's armor permanently is on you. How's that not insane? You just get that. You just got that for free. 8 damage on your bear? We'll see. This hero's back, I'm pretty sure.
All right. Looking not forward to that. Okay, moving on. What do we have? Magnus.
Scepter is weird.
Reworked Ags. This is one of the only ones I didn't test. Increases shockwave range by 150 and radius by 50. Shockwave now erupt singular after 1.5 seconds, dealing an additional 50% of shockwave's base damage and applying a debuff that slows and reduces base armor by 50%. Affected unit recovers over 5 seconds. Okay. Let me ask you.
What does recover mean?
Movement speed. I'm going to bash some people here and I apologize. When maybe you don't know this. I have run some custom hero like design community things where people send like hero designs to me. I've also read a lot on the Dota forums back in the day and the Han forums, people creating their own heroes. It's a lot of fun. I cannot tell you how many spells are a convoluted fucking mess like this. Like, I read this and I don't even give a shit what it does. It's poorly written. It sounds awful conceptually because I don't understand. Am I an old fucking man?
It's not that advanced.
Explain it to me, Syndran, please.
Okay. Your shockwave is bigger, okay? More range, more radius. Okay?
Yes.
1.5 seconds after it's flown out, it erupts. So then it deals more damage, and then it slows and reduces armor of enemy heroes. There's a delayed effect on shockwave.
I think you misunderstand what I mean by it's a convoluted mess.
Okay.
Why can't they come up with an Ag Scepter that doesn't sound ridiculously stupid?
Oh, I get it now.
Like, you're creating an ability. You can do literally anything you want, and this is what you came up with. It travels in the direction of the sun, in the direction of Mecca, and destroys everybody. Like, what the fuck? What are you supposed to do?
That sounds pretty
with
broken.
Come on, man. Come on. You can do something better than this.
I get where you're coming from, but I actually don't think this is even in the top 10 of most convoluted ags or spells in the game. Like, that doesn't mean it's good, but it's not like,
by the way, what was wrong?
like that absurd.
What was wrong with original ags? I know nobody bought it, but it doesn't mean
that was what was wrong with it.
So people are gonna buy this.
I mean, they could have made it better. I think they are, because having a 50% base armor reduction can be really strong against specific heroes like Terrorblade, right? You shockwave Terrorblade, he loses 20 armor. Like, how's that not wild?
Okay, moving on. I just get angry reading this one.
So the thing I will 100% agree with you on this is that it's not specified what recovers means. That's what I'm asking about.
Oh,
it says they recover over 5 seconds. Is it linear recovery? Is it both the move speed and the armor that they recover at the same rate? You know, like, it's a little bit ambiguous what this means.
Well, I feel like that's not ambiguous. It's the debuff, the slow, and the armor.
And they recover it at a linear speed, so they
like,
recover 10% per second.
It's like Open Wounds. I think Open Wounds is probably written the same way. Where
is Open Wounds linear? I don't even know.
Well, maybe the old one. I can't remember if it's the new one or not. Either way. Okay, I can't believe we spent this much time on this fucking this mess of a spell. Hate it. Marcy, all right. Aghanim Scepter reduces Unleash cooldown by 10 seconds. While Unleash is active, Marcy's abilities trigger Unleash pulses. In addition, there's now a shard. Rebound can be set to autocast to throw the target instead of rebounding off of them. And Rebound as a spell has changed that it can no longer target enemy units. So I went in the game and tested it, and it still could target enemy units, but I think they fixed it. I'm pretty sure.
That, yeah.
I also think that this Ags and Shard, this one is more forgivable, though, because we had trouble coming up with ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It really looks like they ran out of ideas with this Ags and Shard. I feel like, I'm not saying they're not good. Like, the Shard, I'm sure, is good in the right hand. This is like, that, to me, this one's more complicated because it's using, like, angles, you know? And, of course, I tried it when it was busted, so it was like, what the fuck is going on? It's like a reverse toss. That's what it felt like.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here. The way the Rebound Shard works is that you can just choose where you would usually jump to, the target jumps to instead, right? That's what happens.
But, like, you have to
toggle. So you can save an ally by throwing them way back, or you can throw them way into the enemy team.
Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think overall both of them are weird. I would not have ever guessed this Ags as well.
I think this is one of the worst Ags in the game.
Worst as in conceptually or in practice?
Just weak.
Oh, weak.
And I also don't think the concept is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's hard to come up with something on Marcy, but this isn't it, in my opinion.
This one felt mega forced.
Doesn't sound very good.
Mega forced.
10-second cooldown reduction. The spell on max level is 70, so you cut it by like 13% or something. And then when you pulse on all your active abilities, that's a maximum of 3 pulses if you cast your entire kit. Maybe it's better than I think it is. Like, every time Marcy completes an Unleash combo, she pulses once, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you pulse all those spells in a row, maybe it's insane. Like, how much is the damage again? Yeah, it might be better than I'm getting it credit for.
4,200 gold, though. I
exactly.
have a hard time
You're buying it over a damage item or BKB or something, right? So I feel like it's hard to justify. But it might be cool if you get it from Roche.
Okay, moving on. Cool. Mars Arena of Blood can no longer be escaped vertically. That is a huge buff, right? What heroes could escape? Batrider, tossing out.
Batrider couldn't.
Batrider could not. Wait, who could?
Batrider did not get Z-axis. He just got free movement. But free movement doesn't escape Arena. But the heroes that could were like Slark, Mirana, Winter Wyvern, Clockwork Shard, these kind of things.
Okay,
But they can't escape anymore. The arena is indefinite height.
Okay, all right. Talk to me about Meepo, since I didn't read it.
Okay. So generally when heroes get like a stat buff, like let's say your hero gains +1 strength or +2 strength, and that's the only change the hero gets, the win rate will go up by like 1%. And it might sound crazy, but if you think about it, every game situation where you would be low health, instead of dying, you survive, and that could in turn lead to a kill. It could lead to you not losing gold. It could lead to Roshan. It could lead to barracks in the most extreme cases, right? Because you didn't die. And people will laugh at like, oh, this hero got +1 armor, omega lol. But it's actually... Stat changes matter a lot because they matter all the time in every game, right? So a 1% change in win rate means that in 100 games, you would win one more game because some key thing happened. If you think about how many crazy things happen in a game of Dota, it's not far-fetched that, 2 strength would be a good buff for win rate. So let's look at Meepo. Plus 0.6 strength gain.
Yep.
Plus 0.8 agi gain. And plus 0.3 int gain. So gets way tankier, way stronger, more stats. Now, the compensation here is that the clones no longer benefit twice from treads, and the clones no longer benefit from attribute bonuses twice either. But the ramp up of the hero and the speed at which certain things happen, like, I'm not an expert here, okay? But I'm reading this, and it reads like a really big buff to me. Earthbind is cheaper on lower levels. I don't know how good Dig is, so let's just whatever on
Magic
that one.
resist is kind of a big deal, 15%.
Yeah, he gets magic resist on all Meepos, which is huge. It's just more passive bonus to the hero in general. This, to me, is low druid tier for this patch in terms of win rate, 5 to 10% increase, I think. Which is concerning for people that struggle with boosters, because now Meepo might be back on the menu for that, but he literally disappeared from competitive play. So I understand that you want to buff the hero and make it viable again. I think it's overbuffed, but we'll see.
Okay.
It seems crazy to me, but who knows? Maybe I'm overrating it.
All right, Mirana got a shard rework. Used to grant an extra leap charge and then a crit. Now it's the leap charge, and Sagan bounces, dealing 150 damage in a forward cone. What did I say?
Bounces.
Sagan. That would have been more. That would have been better. He bounces.
That would actually been better.
Dealing.
Start bouncing in place. Brown.
Dealing 150 damage in a forward cone to units within 500 range of Mirana and slowing them by 30% for 2.5 seconds. So when I tried this, maybe they changed it. It is literally Dragon Slave. The literal same spell effects.
It's the same with Meepo and the fling thingy, right? Where that was the Storm Hammer.
Oh, is that changed though?
Animation. I think it got a new animation at some point, right?
Because I haven't seen Meepo played in years, so I don't know the update on that one. This one, it's better than the old one, I guess, because nobody was going to right-click Mirana anyway. But
it's weird.
It's whatever.
It's just weird, I think.
Yeah, you're getting this for the extra leap charge, if anything. It's a luxury.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you do... If you leap really effectively, you can do a lot of damage, right?
Yep. Just leaping constantly.
What did it have a cooldown, the shard?
No, it's just every time you leap.
So every time you leap, you breathe fire.
I believe so, yeah. Breathe fire. Is that from the anime? I don't know. Morphling.
It sounds kind of weird.
Scepter's been reworked, so you can no longer morph into allies, which is a huge yes, thank God. Unless I'm missing something here. Replicate steals 20% of the each stat from the replicated hero. If the replicated hero's primary attribute is strength, they will also steal 35% status resist, your favorite. And if it's agility, it'll steal 50 attack speed. And if it's int, it will steal 20% spell amp. Also reduces replica cooldown by 20 seconds. So is this a typo, or do they actually mean steal?
It is steal. The enemy hero loses it.
Holy shit. That's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, I think.
Wow.
I know that. Okay, so I'm getting older and more grumpy and have a more negative outlook on things, but I find that in this patch there are quite a few things that I like and find really fun, and there's also just some that I feel like miss the mark. And this is another one of those where I don't really like this design perspective. like the concept of this is a little bit off for me.
If it didn't steal, would that be okay with you? If he just
That would
gained
be,
it?
yeah, then it would be way better, and then maybe you could give more better benefits. But the fact that you steal and like based on their primary attribute, because it's also really, it's a bit weird, right? Because there's like int heroes that don't care about spell amp, and then there's like no strength heroes that don't care about status resistance, right? That matters to literally every hero, that you're stunned and silenced for a longer time.
True.
But like if you steal int from, or if you steal spell amp from Ench, like, you know, but then obviously Morph won't target her, so I get that like perspective, and you're buying this as a counter item. It just feels really,
This is like the
it
ultimate.
feels difficult to balance, basically, is my
This-
point. Like
this is
it's really punishing.
Ultimate fuck you for bulldoze spirit break.
Yeah, and you steal, what is it, 50 attack speed from an agi hero? Like, you just, how long does it last? Let me see.
I would assume it's the whole replicate, right? That's pretty
Replicate
long
lasts
time.
20 seconds. Or sorry, Morph. It's called Morph. Morph lasts 20 seconds. It lasts 36 with talent.
Hmm.
So let's say you're playing against, I don't know, an agi carry. Let's say Ursa. You just replicate him. He now has minus 50 attack speed for 36 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
does it matter whether you're in Ursa form or not? Like, if you turn out of the Morph, you still have it running. So I think he still loses the bonus, right?
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like this
Again,
one either.
It's one of those things where I just don't know how good it is. It just sounds off somehow to me. Like, maybe it will end up not mattering that much because the heroes you want to replicate anyway won't be
that's-
agility carries.
Maybe
But it's
that's
like
the
awkward.
idea, is they want you to choose between spells or nerfing the enemy heroes or something. But the problem is when they
Yeah.
both align, then it's like way too good, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I can give you a concrete example. Think of how good Morphling is as a counter to carry Gyro, right? Now with Ags, you're just stealing his attack speed. So it becomes such an insane value proposition. You're changing the attack speed relatively between the two carries by 100, and you get Flak Cannon.
Right.
So it's just like, I don't know. Not too sure. Morphling did, like it's being pointed out in chat, Morph did lose E-Blade, right? So now he's like a different hero.
Oh no, poor
But-
Morphling. Oh.
Not sure.
Gives
Not
a
sure yet.
shit.
We'll see.
Naga-
I generally keep an open mind with all of this stuff. The only red flag for me is caster introduction so far. Like everything else is like, you know, numbers or whatever. I just that one. Ugh.
Naga Riptide
Going on.
no longer is random chance. It now procs every 5 attacks by her and her images. So I don't know what the percentage chance, what is it? Because that's 20% tech. I mean, if it's attack speed, then it just scales way better into the late game, I suppose.
I don't remember what the chance was before.
Either way, that's good. Nature's Prophet. I just randomly saw these talents. So the Sprout mischance at 20 is now 100% mischance instead of 75. And the other talent has been changed to Sprout Leashes, which obviously together, if you're able to get really high level, that's pretty crazy.
You get max level on Prophet. You have Sprout with a blind and a leash.
It's pretty ridiculous. This one, probably not that big of a deal, but it's my one of my favorite heroes. Reaper Scythe for Necro no longer increases enemy death timers, which I'm sure a lot of people will be happy about. But every time you get a kill with Reaper Scythe, you gain permanent HP and mana regen, which I think is cool. I just don't know how good this is in theory.
Exactly. I'm in the same boat. I like this change, but don't know how good it is. But I like the concept of this. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Night Stalker, your favorite. I'm skipping. Sorry.
Yeah, largely relevant. The
Nyx-
cast point on Crippling Fear is nice.
Nyx's Shard now increases target's incoming spell damage by 17% instead of reducing their magic resist, and now applies the debuff before the damage. Don't really
So it increases Vendetta damage by 17%.
Rarely see this Shard come out. Because it's all about the Ags with this hero, right? It feels like it doesn't synergize with the Ags build.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
What's 17% damage on Vendetta? Is that meaningful? Is it like 100 pure?
No idea.
It's about 100 pure on level 18. It's not that big.
All right. Another Slack's favorite. has been changed to the point where he hates this hero now. Omni Knight. Rework the Shard, which was Hammer of Purity, into Degen Aura, which I think is a good idea because everybody hated that ability anyway. It's not good. It slows enemies within 400 radius by 40%. I don't even remember what the numbers were for the skill, honestly.
Way worse.
Okay, so this is better.
Actually, not that much worse on level 4, to be honest.
Okay.
But anyway.
Heavenly Grace no longer gives status resist. That is a big deal. But it's also applied to Omni Knight if cast on an ally. So that is a huge quality of life. And you get extra strength and HP regen for each debuff you dispel. So less of a... I mean, obviously, you're still going to use it as a precursor kind of thing, as a preface. But to take something off will have extra
I feel like Omni
now.
just becomes this interesting counterpick, right, to certain strategies where... really debuff heavy lineups, Heavenly Grace can be really cool, right? But it's just like really niche, but it can be cool in the right game. Like if you dispel like 5 debuffs, you give your target 30 extra strength on Heavenly Grace and regen.
Looks like I missed a talent. Thank you, chat. I didn't actually see this before. Sorry to reverse here. Ogre Magi's 25 talent.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
So used to be 20% bash chance. Now is a 17% fire blast chance. Is that on auto attack?
Yeah.
On auto attack, you have a 17% chance to cast fire blast.
It's such a meme, dude.
Now I understand why my friend Pop Tart went for right click Ogre Magi today.
It's such a meme.
What the fuck? Okay. It all makes... I thought he might have had brain damage, but sounds like Ice Frog has brain damage instead.
He still did because he went right click over.
Sure.
But,
all right, back to Omni.
maybe it's good. I don't know.
No more Degen Aura. Now he gets Hammer of Purity, which I found to be a very boring fucking skill. Is now a basic skill of his.
Yeah.
So this is the attack modifier. It has a cooldown, right? It's not like it doesn't just change your attack. It's like one attack every like X seconds.
Let me see what the cooldown is.
So what does it do again? Just read the whole
Cooldown
thing.
is 10 seconds.
So you get one attack every 10 seconds to apply a little bit of extra damage, right? And
deal extra damage in slow.
And a slow. It doesn't have purification applied to it. Am I thinking of a different skill? His old shard farther back?
I don't remember the Omni Knight old shards, but like the main thing here is it gives Omni in lane a debuff that he can cast on an enemy instead of having the aura where you need to constantly stay on top of them and be in short range. This is a 5-second slow.
Okay.
It's actually pretty strong.
Okay, I didn't see that it's no longer an attack modifier. So it's literally just a spell. Okay.
It's a 5-second slow on a 350 cast range that deals base damage. I think he's quite a bit better as a support in lane because of this. As a core, he's better as well, right? You just have more damage. Because beforehand you had the aura, which you didn't really want most of the time. Here the trade-off is you have a 5 seconds duration slow on a 10-second cooldown. So there's 5-second downtime, but it's targeted, you don't need to stay in range, and it gives you damage you didn't have before. So I think overall this is a buff on like laning for Omni.
Guardian Angel with Ags no longer gives HP regen. Instead, status resist, 40% to be exact, for Mr. Cinderin's pleasure, which is way better than 40.
We're going to say why, and then we can move on.
Okay. Oracle now has a new Ags. This is his 4th, I believe. I think they've gone through every ability, if I'm not mistaken. So now they're like, okay, doesn't look like that's going to work. Let's just create a new ability called...
This spell's cool.
Reign of Destiny. Cool name as well. Brings forth rain on a 650 unit area for 10 seconds. Enemies standing in the area receive 50 damage per second and have minus 25% heal amp. Allies have 50 health per second and have 25% increased incoming heal amp. Have you seen it in game, the effect?
No. I can test it though.
Test it right now and tell me if, I'm not going to say what it is. Tell me if it reminds you of anything, okay? As a spell, I think this is cool. I don't know if this is good though, because it's obviously, you have to get an Ags on Oracle still. He doesn't farm well.
I don't know how good it is either, but the concept is cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it won't last though, because this hero just can't farm Ags ever.
That reminds me of
very clearly. It's like
Gale Force.
not from Dota 2.
Oh.
I'll give you a clue. It's a game related to Dota 2.
Is it remind you of something from Han?
No. Why would I
Something
ask
from
you?
League?
Keep going. There's
Something from Artifact?
My God. Okay.
Something from Underlords?
Nope. You're running out of games.
Something from Half-Life?
All right. It's from Warcraft 3. Do you remember? So what was... You guys are going to I'm going to sound like an idiot here. What is the guy in Warcraft lore that has antlers? That's based on Leshrac originally.
Malfurion?
Malfurion in Warcraft 3, if I'm not mistaken, had a spell exactly like this with a rain of heal. And
Tranquility.
is that what it was called? Tranquility?
That was what the Keeper of the Grove's
Keeper
ulti
of the Grove, yes.
was Tranquility.
Yes.
Does this look like that?
To me, it looks extremely similar. And it's the same effect, essentially, other than the minus.
Okay, I could see that.
That just that's not something I've thought about in literally 20 years. So I just thought that was really cool. That it reminded me of it. Not sure how good it is though, but I like the concept.
Yep.
Okay, OD. Don't give a fuck about Pangolier. Slight buffs. Let's see, PA, whatever. PL, nobody cares about. I'm offending a lot of favorite heroes for some people, I'm sure. But yeah, we can't go through everything because it's going to be a purge podcast. It's already turning into that.
So Phoenix Fire Spirit's buff is pretty major, I think. It's a much shorter cooldown on level 4, 20 down from 30. So you have it way more in fights. And then the talent change up on 20 and 25 means you lose the old talent you had, or rather you have to choose on 20 between max... Wait, when was it? Never mind, I'm mixing things up. So yeah, you just get the Sunray talent faster, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really strong.
Yeah, that one's really good.
So I think Phoenix got buffed quite a bit here.
All right, Puck. Rework of Shard causes phase shift to attack all enemies within attack range. So no longer... Talent. Yeah, so that was a talent, and now a talent becomes... Wait, did the Waning Rift... Oh, that's right. Aghanim Scepter is basically the old Shard, where now Waning Rift has 150 extra radius and knocks back enemies 400 distance and reveals Invis for 5 seconds, which means the ever-important Aghanim Scepter, which was the BKB piercing thing, is now a 25 talent. I would say this is a nerf overall. I don't know if you would agree.
A big nerf. I think this might be one of the most nerfed heroes in the whole patch.
Like this item is like, or the old Ags was so crucial to this hero, I feel like. So
yeah. It's also that, you used to, if you went for the right click thing, the right click build, you got phase shift for free as a talent. Now you need to buy it if you want to get that one. Yeah, it's just, I would say it's clearly worse. The new talents that Puck got instead are kind of interesting. Like Illusory Orb cooldown might be better than I'm giving it credit for. To get that more often will give you a bit more damage. But then you lose the Spell Lamp talent on 15 as well. That's synergized with your entire kit, and now it only goes to Waning Rift. So, I don't know. I think Puck got pretty nerfed here. It's my vibe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Overall.
Mr. Putka, one less armor, sadly.
Why?
Flesh Heap no longer gives magic resist, which obviously is a nerf, even though you will buy Hood most of the times, I would think, on this hero anyway. Bonus strength also reduced from Flesh Heap by quite a bit.
Yep.
But now he can cast Flesh Heap to gain damage block. So you get at level 4, level 1's pathetic with 5, but level 4, 20 damage block against all types of damage for 7 seconds, which includes your Rot. And it can also be cast while channeling. The Shard was also nerfed slightly. This has to be overall a nerf to the hero, I would think. Although the Flesh Heap active is kind of cool. I don't know how good it is, though.
I feel like I need to try this. Like, this is not what I had hoped for. It's cool that Flesh Heap gets an active, and I actually like the idea of this one. I just don't know if the values are right. But the design is fine.
Like, why get rid of both magic resist and nerf the strength. I don't understand. Is this hero too good? What's the purpose?
I think perhaps this Flesh Heap active is perceived to be really strong because you remove your entire damage from Rot for 7 seconds, right? When you max it out. But that's when you max it out, and you don't really build the hero like that. So I don't know. Like, I think he's going to get buffed. And like, this is perceived to be better than it actually is, but let's see the win rates.
Yeah, that's the main issue is with this skill change to Flesh Heap, you're still not getting Flesh Heap early. 5 damage
that's the problem.
Is pathetic.
And you can't go, like, even if this is incredible against like heroes with constant low damage over time, like Ember or Leshrac or Venno or something like that, like, you can't max this first because then you deal no damage. Then your hero doesn't exist. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You kind of have to max Rot or Hook or both, and then it's just so far into the game, like, and you're nerfed in lane. You lost armor.
Not that people were going value levels of Flesh Heap before, but it was actually a better value level pre this patch because of the magic resist.
And more strength.
I missed just what was wrong with the HP regen on Flesh Heap, like 10 patches. Like, what was wrong with that? He was a legit hero. Pugna, so you can decrepify while channeling. That is a huge deal. I think that's a huge fucking buff to this hero. And in addition, Netherward no longer hits, or no longer heals. Wait, what is this? No longer heals 2 hits. What does that mean?
Heals 2 hits. Oh, right. So Netherward.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Was regaining health when people were casting spells.
I actually forgot they changed that. Yeah.
The new aura is wild.
Yeah, so the aura of Netherward now reduces enemy spell damage by up to 25%. And the shard, which previously it was the shard where the longer you channel, the more it kind of splintered off. Now it's more controlled, so you can cast it. You can cast Life Drain on Netherward, which causes that to refract to all enemy heroes in the vicinity for 70% of the damage. This one is, like, I don't know if people are going to buy it. It's really cool, though. And I actually tested it out, and it works with Aether Lens. So when you're casting on your ward, the Aether Lens life drain from your ward to heroes is extended. Does that make sense?
Okay. Like so it's not just you targeting the ward. The ward gets more range.
Yes.
On the drain.
It seems quite strong, but again, it's like, basically this means you don't have to technically buy BKB. You can be like on the outskirts, right? And actually do something. So that's kind of cool. I like this a lot.
To me, the clearly biggest thing in all of this is the Netherward aura. I think reducing enemy spell damage by this much makes this a very strong competitive counterpick because the Netherward is hard to destroy in a lot of games. And Pugna eats certain heroes alive already. This just makes it even worse. On top of that, you have the new Vlad's item that we talked about earlier with the damage reduction aura. You combo that with this. You actually have enemy magic damage.
Is it additive? Do we know?
I'm assuming. I think so. Even if it isn't, then you're still like cutting it by like over a third. Right. So
okay.
Seems strong.
Overall,
gets nerfed. Fair.
I personally would like to see more Pugna in play. Generally, I think it's a cool
fun.
hero.
It's a fun hero. I don't know if this is the way to go with it, but it's nice to see it buffed.
Okay, moving on. Razor cannot be cast, or Static Link cannot be cast on target that's already linked, so that affects the refresher build, I assume is what that means. So that's good. Ricky, where was it? Blink Strike slows now for 0.8 seconds. Slows by 100%, so a brief slow.
It's very good for comboing with tricks.
And 25 talent, Tricks of the Trade applies a basic dispel and can be cast when rooted/leashed. Pretty great quality of life for specific games.
But it's 25 talent, so.
Yeah. Rubik, so Spell Steal has been changed a bit, so now it has a 4-second cooldown by default at the highest level. And as a result, Ag Scepter no longer reduces the cooldown, but instead it lets you steal 2 spells. That's fucking cool. That's really cool.
It requires a lot of like this is a super high skill hero already, and now you can do all sorts of crazy shit. It's a good thing they removed rearm being stealable, or you could just steal rearm and Cataclysm and basically play AD.
Yeah, true.
You can't do that.
It's funny because not to. Okay, maybe I'm thinking it too outside the box here, Synderen. Do you think paying attention to ability draft for pro players might be a thing for these like people that play Rubik? Like finding out what the best actual spell combos are in case you know.
I don't know. I feel like that's. I don't think so. I think they're going to be just looking at the individual game and making up their minds about what they can. It's also about what you can realistically get. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, I don't know how much you want to hold on to your spells because the cooldown is so low, right? You maybe want to cycle things in fights so you get more spells out. I think you kind of glanced over the telekinesis buff. I think that's really big too. You just got 50% better stun level 1.
True.
It's quite a lot actually. So Rubik got a lot better.
So 1.1 there almost now
on a single spell.
Okay, Sand King, Nada.
Yeah.
Shadow Demon, Demonic Cleanse is now granted as a secondary ability with Ag Shard. Repeatedly applies a basic dispel on the target allied unit, removing negative buffs for the duration. At the end of the duration, the unit is healed. This is just the same spell as before, right?
Yeah, so this was on
his ult.
On the ult, right. So you just get it as a separate ability, so you can still demonic purge enemies. This is a big buff.
So my question, do you get 3 charges of this as well?
I don't think so.
Wait, Scepter also grants charges to demonic.
You do.
I should have just read that last line. So wait. Oh, okay. So Shard gives you one of these abilities, and Ags gives you the 3 charges. Okay.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So when you buy Shard, you have Demonic Purge offensively, and you have Demonic Cleanse defensively, whereas before you had to choose, do I use it on an ally, or do I use it on an enemy?
Yeah.
And now you're going to have three charges of each.
That's crazy. Holy shit. That's really good.
It's a big buff.
And this is a hero that can farm, right? Shadow Poison allows you to like take out stat. Well, maybe not as much anymore, I suppose.
I don't know. It allows you to take out stacks unless you have a 33% chance of getting tornadoed and you get pulled in by a Wild Wing while one of them casts Ogre Smash on the ground. But otherwise, yes, you could farm stuff.
They should have called the Ogre Smash like testicle. How about testicular torsion or something very graphic?
Yes.
Okay.
That is your custom game indeed.
All right, we can tell that it's getting late here because I'm just going into the lowbrow humor, as it were.
All right, can we not skip Shaman because of how weird this is? All right, the top 3 weirdest change in the patch.
Shadow Fiend,
okay.
The Shard, it fears. So I have a question for you. You're in the game, right? So the Shard, to my knowledge, which we've made fun of many times, it is an active ability that lets you crit. But it also gives you more damage, I think, in some respect, right? Does it let you have more stacks? I can't remember. There's something else to it from before.
You gain 2 souls per kill, and you can consume 1 soul per attack to deal a crit and fear the target for 0.3 seconds, it says here, but the change log says 0.5, so who really knows, right?
What's the cooldown?
3 seconds.
Okay. It's interesting. It's definitely. Yeah. I don't understand the point of having the charge disappear. That's the thing that bothers me about this. What's the point of removing? Like, why not just make that
using
part of the
a soul
ability?
for it?
Yeah.
Why I don't think that's a necessary part either.
It's just strange. Okay, Shadow Shaman, you were very excited about this. Go ahead.
Look at the shackles. Why does shackles heal? That's so weird.
Now heals Shadow Shaman. Ooh, that's cool.
So it deals less damage, but now you heal. So it's like a trading spell in lane for support shaman, or for mid-core shaman, it's a way of trading as well.
Mid shaman, I like it.
It's kind of like brain sap, but channeling. It's weird.
I think that's cool. I don't mind it.
It's like I don't hate it, but I just find it strange. Like that's it. It's just odd. Really?
Yeah, it's definitely odd. I mean, we'll see. If this brings mid shaman Synderen, I'm in for whatever. It's been a while.
What's clear about this is that in a lot of situations in lane, when you're level 3, if you go 102, for example, on shaman, which was a popular build for a while, The trade-off now is you deal 30 less damage, but you heal 130, right? So like the relative health trade is way better for you than it was before if you can keep the shackle running. But it also only matters in the situations that you're taking damage to begin with and blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. Bit weird. Skywrath buffed on 3 spells, nerfed on Ancient Seal. I don't know. I haven't crunched the math on this if you do more damage overall, but I'll say that the mid Skywrath build that Thompson used to go with 440 is just flat out better. So,
Yep.
That's something.
Slardar Corrosive Haze. It leaves a water trail now, which is cool.
I like this a lot.
Now, your passive, your sprint is worse, though. You gain 10% less speed, but you'll be faster a lot when you chase heroes because you don't have to worry about being in the river. So, kind of
I like
cool.
the concept of this. It's cool.
Yep, I agree.
I'm a fan.
So Pounce dealing, what does this matter? Dealing 40 damage on contact. Because you can't blink out of them anyway, Pounce.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's got to be
just more damage.
That can't be. There's got to be a reason for it. Anyway, Snapfire. Shard has been changed a bit. Okay, so you do point blank damage by 35% with the shard instead of 125 flat. What does that mean? 35% of your attack damage?
35% of the damage of the spell. It's because there's talents that increase the damage or something, I think.
Okay. And the stun is slightly
depending on what
worse.
talent you take.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a level 15 talent with Scatter Blast damage.
There's a level 15 talent now with +2 little shredder attacks. That's
the biggest nerf there is little shredder armor reduction. That hurts.
Yeah, 0.5
but
instead
Snap
of 0.75.
also needed a nerf, so it's fine.
Okay, Sniper, nobody cares. Spectre.
I don't know why. Okay, Sniper's change is just weird. Like, why does Take Aim cost more mana and then Concussive Grenade is changed? It's just strange. Anyway.
Spirit Breaker, which I was expecting some nerfs for, didn't really receive much, if I remember correctly. Status, I mean, just slightly nerfed across the board, I guess. I mean, I like the
think
hero,
he's still
so I
going
don't
to be
really
a good
mind.
hero.
But
he's probably still good. It's fair that he gets some nerfs, but it's not crazy. So I think he's still viable. It's fine.
Okay, skipping Storm. Sven, so Ags now dispels the target as well. So that was the old shard, I believe. Or was it a talent? I can't remember. Yeah,
it was a talent
shard.
At some point. It's been different things, really.
Now the shard is applied to Warcry. Warcry is undispellable and passively grants 5 armor to allies in 1200 radius.
Sven used to have this aura in Warcraft 3 Dota.
Yep, true.
Very early, he had a 5 armor aura called Devotion Aura.
Oh wow, I actually forgot the name.
Now he has that on the shard. It's probably pretty nice, actually, the shard. It probably feels good, but I don't know if you want to buy it on carry. But you can get it as a Roche drop, and then your entire team is just tankier. It feels good.
Yeah, it's okay, I guess.
Pretty good.
We talked about
Techies we've kind of been over, yeah.
TA.
He got a lot more damage and less armor. He's just a different hero now.
Terrorblade, nothing crazy. A lot less agility gain. I mean, 4.4 is ridiculous. Let's be real.
Yeah. But Conjure Image is a lot cheaper on lower levels.
Okay, very good. Very important.
Yeah, actually.
I'm not being sarcastic. I just just sound like it right now because you're speaking.
Yep.
All right, Tinker. This is the hero people wanted deleted. So status resist for defense matrix just slightly nerfed. Channeling time for rearm slightly nerfed.
Laser damage nerfed.
Slightly nerfed. And now he has a new shard. So I guess March of the Machines is gone. Called Warp Flare. Throws a grenade toward a unit, dealing 50 damage, teleporting it 600 units away from Tinker, and reduces their cast and attack range by 40% for 3 seconds. This sounds like literally Sniper's Shard, which is grenade, concussive grenade, except it also applies this debuff.
It throws them away instead of you.
Yeah, well, Sniper's does both. Sniper pushes you
true,
back
actually,
and pushes them back as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've had my rant about cast range. This reduces attack range as well. I don't like it.
Okay, is that how you're going to sum it up?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
pretty much.
Yeah, this is definitely strange. Okay, Tiny. God, how many times are you going to change how Avalanche and Toss work together? Like, seriously. Grow now gives you 300 bonus damage to Toss, apparently.
Mhm.
They just got to find places to put this to make up for it. And bonus damage. So, talk to me about this. Bonus damage increased by 50% when carrying a
Yeah,
tree.
I think it's the bonus damage from Grow, right?
Okay,
So
that's what I was wondering.
Tiny's Grow level 3 gives 110 damage. So that means when you have a tree, it gives 165 damage instead of 110. It's 50% more of the 110.
Okay, and the bonus damage from tree grab has been changed from 20% to 20 flat damage, which sounds like a giant nerf. But yeah,
It might be slightly better in lane. I don't remember what your base damage is.
And bonus building damage reduced by quite a bit as well. And yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I think on day 1 of the patch, everything is very new. Tiny has had the third highest win rate increase of any hero in this patch.
Oh, really?
It's like 8% up or something. Carry Tiny is so much better now than it was before.
We'll have to try it. I love it.
Just core Tiny in general. I think support Tiny is probably slightly worse, but core Tiny is much better. So
Troll Warlord.
you'll probably notice when you play it, the damage is wild.
I was expecting a new ultimate, honestly, but Battle Trance now grants phased movement. Great. The 25 talent does sound cool, though. Instead of 2 seconds of extra killing yourself with Battle Trance, you get Whirling Axes Pierces magic immunity. So, I know this is a 25 talent. Like, let's say, theoretically, this is a 20 talent. I think the Ags Troll, like, magic build would be fucking crazy. You know what I mean? I think this is them testing the waters. Because 25 is too far away for it to be like, okay, I'm building this way the whole game. I feel like, at least. I don't know. But that is really strong if you get it.
Yeah, also the blind, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Ags is like, you're just constantly applying that stuff. And you dispel.
It's the fact that you can just make sure you keep blinding the enemy carry all game.
Yeah.
From
really
25 onwards, right? That's pretty good, I think.
Okay. Mr. Tuska. Anything in here?
Nothing too major. It's just slightly tweaked the numbers. Spells deal a bit more damage, and Walrus Punch deals a bit less. I think that's it for the most part.
Apparently, we skipped something on tree.
Oh, did you skip Treant? Yeah. Living Armor has really changed.
Okay, so cooldown increased. Duration, wow, from 12 to 30 seconds. Bonus armor rescaled to be more. 4 increase at level 4. Total heal rescaled from 180. It still scales at the same at level 4.
It just heals mega slowly, right?
Right.
Because it lasts 30 seconds.
Wow.
But you can have plus 12 armor on 2 heroes consistently on level 4. And you also give 12 armor to the tower. So when it comes to sieging against Treant, it's even harder. Like, he heals it slower than before, but the armor is really strong when they're going for it. So, yeah. It's, I think Treant got quite a lot better with this change. I think you max living armor and you just help the map so much right now by giving heroes 12 armor.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's another armor thing for the patch, by the way. There's plenty of armor in this.
Walrus Kick uses vector targeting now. Oh, wait, it's unit.
Yeah, you can
and
kick
vector.
them in a direction. Like, it's pretty funny. Like, Walrus Kick is actually really funny, but it's still, an Ags.
Wait, it says is now unit and vector. My guess is that you can choose to do it the same way or vector targeted. That's how it sounds like. Am I wrong? Otherwise, it would say is now vector targeted.
No, I think what it means is you select a unit and then you draw a line from it.
Oh, I see.
So you click them and then pull, similar to Rebound on Marcy.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
So,
all right.
I'm assuming you can kick people backward. I don't know if there's a limitation to how you can kick people.
Well,
maybe you can kick them backwards.
If they're going to make it vector targeted, then there's no reason that it shouldn't do that. That's the only point of doing that, right? To get the 360 degrees. Okay, Cinderin, your spell has been in the game. What does this feel like? Underlord, Dark Rift, and we talked about this possibility, and obviously you were the reason for that. Dark Rift has been removed. Fiend's Gate, which was the Ags for a very brief time that we never saw, is now the actual ultimate. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, so this is what I was hoping was going to happen because Dark Rift is just one of the hardest spells to use in the game and one of the least utilized. And I think it's a big part of the reason people weren't playing Underlord in pubs especially is that it's not like the most fun design, right, for most people to play. So I was hoping that the Ags Fiend's Gate would become the ult because this is more like intuitive and more rewarding to use. So the idea here is that you create 2 portals, one next to yourself and one somewhere else. This is similar to what the Ags was before, right? But nobody wanted to pay for it, but now you get it. And you can then teleport over 2,000 units away, and you need to travel through the gate and arrive on the other side, and then you have damage reduction. So I guess you deal less damage, but you have more move speed when you arrive.
What?
I guess it's a...
No.
Unless I'm mistaken.
That's a buff.
Here, right?
You get 30% damage reduction. And a move
What does
speed
that mean?
buff. Damage is reduced by 30% to you. Whoever walks through it.
Oh, so you take less damage.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so it's way better than I thought, actually.
Yeah.
The spell is strong.
30% damage reduction, 30% movement speed for 7 seconds. And it's on a 100 second cooldown at level 3. So, I mean, flavor-wise, I like it. We'll see how it's used. The scepter has been changed, obviously. So now, when you get it, Fiend's Gate spawns a Pit of Malice under both portals, which I don't know how strong that is. But Pit of Malice now slows enemies by 40%. That's, I would guess, is the main reason you get the Ags in theory.
Well, think of it this way. You make a portal. So you can make a portal over 2k range away. You see an enemy hero in a lane. You make a portal to them.
Mm-hmm.
Then they are Pit of Malice while you travel through the portal so they don't escape. Because first they're rooted and then they're slowed. And then you arrive with the cavalry, right?
Wait, what's the range on this? Global range? Is that actually
It's
right?
global with at least 2k, I think. Unless I misunderstood. I think it's you can cast it anywhere, but they need to be at least 2k away.
So you're saying with Ags, you can basically place a Pit of Malice globally.
You can place a global Pit of Malice and teleport with your team to the target. Like, I don't know if this is balanced, but it's a lot more fun and it's a lot better than before. So now you can tweak the numbers, but I think the concept sounds really fun, actually.
Okay, that sounds insane. Are you 100% sure that's
really
how
good.
it works? That it's global?
I don't know. I'm just reading the text. I haven't tried it. But every Pit of Malice slows for the whole game. It's not just the ones you make with the portal. It's just your spell in general gains a slow. Yeah.
Right.
That's how it works.
Okay. That's...
Maybe it's too good, but at least it's more fun than before, right? So then we can tweak the numbers if it's too good.
That's pretty cool. How does it feel to be... By the way, it should also have a third line under Fiend's Gate saying, thanks to Cinderin for the idea.
No,
nice
so...
frog.
Apparently, I think I got this message a while back. If I remember correctly, apparently this idea was in Dota 1 or was suggested but wasn't implemented. So it wasn't a fully original idea.
That's the usual. Cinderin, you know how many of my ideas are in the game right now?
There's always someone who thought of something before you, right? But,
so they say. Yeah, so they say.
Yeah.
I know the truth, though.
And there's also a spell similar to this in retail World of Warcraft with warlocks who can create a portal. So
that's
it's not like portals are a new idea, right? It's not like groundbreaking.
I'm pretty sure that
Dota,
you created the idea of portals. Okay.
I made Dota.
That is why Portal 3 is coming out soon. So Undying. Nothing that I want to talk about. Ursa. Same.
Meh.
Venge. Okay. So this is directly from my mod.
Okay, sorry, before you go on, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Ultimate Crouton in your chat who says Cinderin invented the door.
Okay, thank you for interrupting for that just terrible announcement. Vengeful Spirit, Magic Missile, the Shard. Before it was the Vengeance Aura. No, it was Wave of Terror Steel. You steal damage, right? It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Now, Magic Missile will bounce once to an enemy, prioritizing heroes.
Very good.
Very good.
It's a great shard.
So we are creating a mod where the Gaben spell is it bounces to every unit once, Cinderin. I just want you to know that.
Wait, how quickly did you glance? So can you go back to Undying? Someone just wrote in chat that it increased his win rate by 8%.
Okay, tell me why.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to scroll up.
Why are you watching on my on the stream?
I don't know. Then we're in the exact same spot and shit.
But you're on a delay.
Yeah, not very much though.
Okay. Just do what
Fine,
you want.
I'll open my own again.
It's
I'll open my
fine.
own
We're
again.
almost done here. It's all good.
Yeah.
We're on the use.
Undying. See, now I have to catch up and find Undying. See, that was a really big waste of time. Okay.
God, you're so dumb.
So Soul Rip. I don't understand why this is a big change. So I kind of don't know.
Okay, thank you for spending the last minute.
Yeah, I'm just trying. Like, if there's that big of a win rate increase, something happened, right?
Yeah. Placebo. Maybe a new set came out recently. People are really,
I don't know.
starting to enjoy it. Okay, Bueno Mancer, Banana Mancer. Poison Sting no longer deals damage on the same tick it applies the debuff. What does that mean?
So beforehand, when you had Poison Sting level 1, for example, it would deal 6 damage per second, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that meant that your base attack damage plus 6 was applied as damage when you hit. Now it's your base attack damage applied, and then 1 second later, you deal the first tick of poison. So effectively, this makes Venno worse at last hitting in lane, because he only got 4 base damage, but he lost the 6 damage from Poison Sting level 1 on hit.
I see, but it's
if that
better
makes sense.
for canceling blinks later, theoretically. They're lingering effect.
Yeah, because it will last an additional second, right?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
This is an interesting 25
Or no,
talent.
it won't actually. I think it lasts the same duration. It just doesn't deal damage until a second later. So it's just slightly worse.
So it was dealing more damage than it should have before, theoretically.
No. It was working as intended. It wasn't a bug that it dealt damage immediately. It's
All
just a...
Too tired to think about that. Level 25
That's
talent.
fine.
Poison Nova reduces 100 attack speed.
I demoed that yesterday. I was like, I wonder if this pierces BKB because Poison Nova goes through BKB. You can't dispel it in any way and it applies.
Yeah.
So I put it on a BKB'd hero. He hit at the same speed as normally. And then when the BKB ran off, he gained 100 attack speed. So this talent is grief. It probably got hotfixed, but it effectively, you just gave the enemy team 100 attack speed.
That's good.
It's probably the worst talent ever in Dota.
You know
just
what?
give every enemy 100 attack speed.
I bet you there's like 5
It's
or
been
6
fixed.
people in Dota that really love, like, this is their hero. This is their jam. Everybody's got that, right? And Venomancer probably has like some of the least amount of people.
I love Venno.
That doesn't surprise me. And they read this and like, holy shit, I'm so excited to play Dota after 5 years of not playing. I'm going to play my first game. And you buff the enemies for 100 attack speed. Man.
Yeah, it's been fixed though. This
That
talent
feels
is
bad.
really good, by the way. It lasts so fucking long. Like,
Yeah, that's
Poison
sounds
Nova
crazy.
is a very long duration, very high duration spell, and it will outlast BKBs easily.
And as an
So-
offlane hero, like level 25 is not that crazy, right? That will happen a decent amount in
Yeah, it
pubs, at
happens.
least.
It makes late game Venno a lot better. In my opinion, this talent is crazy good.
Okay, Viper, whatever. Visage. Was this
Big
changed?
buffs.
Familiar vision range increased by a whopping 10. The attack acquisition range increased by 150. And a bunch of talent reworks. Let's see.
The talent reworks are what's big here. So instead of Visage having 25 damage, Visage has 8, and the familiars each have 8. So grand total damage is -1, right? But the familiars attack a lot faster and they stay on their target better.
Mhm.
The corruption talent that you used to have with -3 armor is now 1.5 on you and 1.5 on each bird. So if the birds hit, it's the same as before. If you hit, it's more. You just need to hit 1 time. Then the familiar movement speed talent is replaced with 30 to you and familiars instead of 40 to the familiars, which I think is also a buff because it keeps you moving. The familiars are still fast enough. And the 25 Gravekeeper's Cloak stacks replaced with Gravekeeper's Cloak also grants +10 armor. That's debatable whether that's better or not, but I think a lot of the time it will be. You just have 10 armor, right?
So the Ags is unchanged, right?
Pretty cool.
That's the Invis
Same Ags.
slash
Invis,
terrain
terrain
walking, and you get.
yep.
Is it move speed as well?
Yeah.
Okay. It's an interesting
This hero
hero.
got buffed quite a lot. So Lone and Visage, the two of the summon heroes, definitely better now.
Mm-hmm.
No
Okay.
doubt.
Void Spirit, whatever. Warlock.
Warlock, totally forgotten hero, got literally nothing, so that's unfortunate.
That's not literally nothing.
It's arguably almost worse than nothing.
Upheaval. It's like a slap in the face because Upheaval is like one of the most worthless spells. Like You know that when warlocks are casting this, they don't feel good about themselves. Like
It's
there's no
very
way.
good sometimes.
Yeah, but you never feel
But-
good about using it. It's like, man, I wish this was
Yeah,
literally any other
but-
skill.
But it's not because you're casting upheaval. It's because you picked Warlock, so you feel bad about that. But
You picked
not-
warlock and then you cast upheaval, which means you can't play your hero because you're stuck channeling for 20 seconds. So if you need to
I
make
would
a sandwich,
argue that the
maybe
level
it's fine.
10 talent change is a nerf, by the way.
50 golem
I think the
movement speed
50
replace-
golem move speed was better. So Warlock has been largely unpicked for a very long time.
and we'll
He got
continue to do
nerfed on
so.
the level 15 talent, right?
Yeah.
It's because it's a way of compensating for the duration being longer on Shadow Word, but I don't know, maybe I'm underestimating how much it matters when you have the shard and these Shadow Word talents and whatnot, but I think I would generally be tempted to take Golem move speed so I can deal more damage in team fights and keep on target.
Man, Slacks has the worst taste in heroes. His favorite heroes are Omni Knight, Old Techies, and Warlock. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like some of the shittiest and most boring ass and brain dead heroes. Anyway,
I guess
keep
something
telling
that
me
can be
cranky.
said is if there's less gold on the map and the game becomes slower, Warlock becomes better because his kit, in essence, like Fatal Bonds and Golem, is really strong in slower games. And he's one of the heroes that thrives the most with the least gold. But I don't think the gold changes are major enough that that's going to change a lot. I think it's going to change some, but not as much as I'd hope. But we'll conclude on that in a sec.
Okay, Swarm is easier to kill for Weaver early on.
3 nerfs, it's fair. That hero
Ag
was
Scepter
broken.
no longer reduces cooldown. That's a huge nerf. Still very good Ags, obviously.
I think the Shikuchi nerf is too big, though, actually. I don't think that was necessary. 15-second cooldown level 1 is insanely high.
Yeah.
I think the Swarm and time-lapse changes were enough, but...
Wind Ranger, Gale Force with the shard is not global anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it was. Lower cooldown now, though. Damage reduction is, this is a buff for Focus Fire, it looks like.
The attack speed is lower, though,
Oh, yeah.
on lower levels.
And reworked Scepter. What was Scepter before? 2 charges to Windrun?
2 charges.
Is that it?
Yep.
So now Windrun is undispellable, slow is increased by 20%, and enemies affected by it are blinded by 40%.
A weird mishmash of things.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about that. So Undispellable Windrun was a talent before on level 15. Now you have to buy Scepter to get that. Gale Force got nerfed. I would say, depends if you think the 10-second cooldown is worth more than the global range.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is another one of those that surprises me, where I feel like this was rather uncalled for. Like, this is not a popular hero. It's not competitively very picked. It's not... Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem better to me when I read this, but perhaps
Yeah.
I'm underestimating Windrun.
It's kinda
'cause
like-
there's a lot that has to do with Windrun here.
It
Talents
feels
that
like
have to do with
it's
Windrun.
changing it for the sake of changing it, because nobody was buying it anyway. So
Yeah.
Okay, Wyvern, whatever. Witch Doctor. So this is interesting. Paralyzing Cask no longer stuns creeps for 5 seconds. That's like a big reason you pick this hero for competitive play, at least. But now it does more damage to the creeps.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a give or take.
Yeah.
Wraith King. What is this? Kills from under Wraith King's control and within 1200 range of Wraith Kings also give progress towards... Oh, thank God. I forgot about this.
Yeah. That was a quality of life thing where you had to get every last hit against your skeletons to get charges.
It was really tough when they started to stack up, those skelly boys. Hard to outlast.
It was just weird. I think this is just a good change. Like, it just feels right that you
Right.
get credit for the kill when it's your units that kill.
All right. And then final change was Zeus. So static field is no longer a basic ability. This is one of the oldest school.
Yeah, this
Spells
is a really
in
old
Dota.
spell.
It is now granted by Shard, though, so still technically in the game. Whenever Zeus attacks or casts an ability on an enemy, it deals 9% of their current HP and damage. I'm not sure what that's equivalent to for the old level. Do you know what level
There's
that
also
is?
when he attacks. That's new.
I did not. That's, yeah. Not that really matters.
If you
I guess.
hit enemies, you proc static field.
All right, Moonshard Zeus.
Is that ever relevant? I don't know. Does Zeus ever want to do that?
Nobody tell Pop Tart. He's going to buy Hyperstones on this fucking hero.
Shit.
So to replace it is Heavenly Jump, which was the old shard. Zeus performs a heavenly jump, shocking the closest visible nearby enemy within 1,000 range at level 4. Reduces their movement speed by 100%, attack speed by 100, and increases their cast time by 50% for 2.5 seconds. Zeus gets
time increase.
Zeus gets 900 unobstructed vision around him for 3 seconds. Can't be cast while leashed. And there's a 15 talent that lets you jump twice, a second charge to this ability. I know that you don't like that, but I think this is cool. I love the shard. It just felt bad buying it, and now you don't have to. I think it's cool.
Yeah, do you like the... I don't mind the redesign as much as I mind the cast time increase on Heavenly Jump.
It's a weird mechanic. It's one of those... Wasn't this part of Enfeeble? It was part of Enfeeble, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it got removed, right?
Yeah.
Enfeeble has tried literally everything.
So Enfeeble is the beta test. So this is... Wait, what comes after beta? Alpha? No, that's... There isn't
Gamma.
anything. No, it's Charlie, but that doesn't even make sense. Why does it work
It's
that
Gamma.
way?
Charlie is not a Greek letter, Shannon. It's Gamma.
Technically, I mean, Gamma is a G.
That's the third letter in the Greek alphabet.
Oh, okay. I just assumed it's the U.S. Army Charlie.
Yeah,
Alpha,
that's
beta,
not
Charlie.
a Greek letter.
But why does it go beta? That doesn't make sense. Alpha is like an unfinished version. Beta is more playable. So what's the final version? That doesn't make sense. It should be the other way around. Alpha should be the beta, and then the fully
What do you
released.
mean? Like alpha is the first version that's playable, so it's the first letter. Beta is closer to finish, so it's the second letter. And then if you're very close, you can call it a gamma, I guess. But
yeah, but nobody
does
calls
that,
it that. That's what I'm saying. That's what's okay. Anyway,
I know, but that's what it would be. Now let's go with Charlie. Actually,
okay, Charlie. This is a Charlie spell. All right, so that is patch 6. What the
yes,
fuck? 6.81 B
730.
7.31.
Yeah,
including
731.
the new hero. What are your thoughts, Cinderin?
Okay. Overall thoughts, without going into too much detail, I think a lot of the nerfs are good. The right heroes got nerfed. I think it's fine that we make the neutral creeps more creative and have more variance. I don't know if I like how unpredictable they are, at least based on text, with chance-based stuff, with whenever I feel like I'm gonna slam, by the way, lol. That's weird to me. Then I think the biggest letdown of this patch is that there's 0 map changes. I really thought they were going to change the layout of the map to spice things up, change tree paths, change warding, which is what usually in the past has happened in big patches. This means it's still like the same framework, which is a shame. I wish that the economy changes were more severe, but I don't know yet how much they really matter with the jungle. Maybe the jungle is nerfed more than I think in terms of how much gold you get. But I was hoping this patch would slow things down so there was less gold for everyone and that the neutral items would be worse. That also didn't really happen. But yeah, like I said, a lot of the hero changes sound fun. Some of the hero redesigns are great. Some of the rebalancing is great. Some of them are off. I don't like cast point manipulation. I don't like the Zeus thing we just covered. Yeah, so all in all, I think I was hoping for more, and a lot of the stuff that I was really hoping for didn't happen in the slightest, or it did, but not enough, I think, rather.
Yeah, so for me, the patch, technically, I mean, this video is 3 hours and 22 minutes so far. That's a perfect number. Too bad it's going to extend a bit. So there's a lot of stuff in it, but a lot of it is very minor. I was expecting map changes as well. I like the bounty rune spots being changed. Obviously, the new hero is great. I mean, we'll see if it's great, but the idea of a new hero is awesome. Techie's being redesigned. I'm very happy about. There's a bunch of heroes.
Big plus as well for me.
Bunch of heroes that were changed to be a little bit more exciting, such as, I wrote them down, Underlord. Pudge, I'm not sure about yet, but I like that they're at least tweaking him. He sounds worse overall, but Necro, Dawnbreaker, Brewmasters is really cool. Bloodseekers is interesting. Batrider, interested to see if Mask of Madness is a thing with him. And then Axe and Abaddon is like these big boys. But
Axe sounds like a ton of fun. The numbers might be off, but I love the design. It's super good.
In terms of like the new additions, though, like the new items, none of them really, like the Revenant's Brooch is like a shitty version of Harkin's Blade. Boots of Bearing is good, though. That's the one I do like. And Wraith Pact is just, I find it extremely strange in concept,
I think it's OP.
but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, it's weird that it's so long and it feels so minor, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're expecting terrain change. I like the hero changes in general. A lot of decent reworks with like shards and ags, but there weren't that many reworks to heroes.
Yeah.
There's like 2, maybe. I was
I
expecting.
also
a
don't
bunch
think
more.
we needed that many hero reworks, right? We needed a Techies rework, which we got. And I think Tinker could have maybe been reworked as well. Omni got a slight rework on the Aura, which I think is a good call. I think it was the least valued spell in the entire game.
Yeah.
Making it the shard, I don't know if that was good. You could have just removed it from the game and given him another shard. I don't think like people aren't going to buy that shard. They just don't really care about the spell, I think, for the most part. But yeah, it's kind of like it has been that long, so people had really high expectations. And I think the reason it feels a bit hollow is that the map isn't changed, and that makes it feel like you're entering the same game, even though all these things are changed somehow.
Yeah.
Because what we're used to from big patches is an overhaul to terrain, where you need to discover new pathways, you need to figure out how to move from lane to lane, where you can hide, where you can gank, how you optimize your farming patterns, like all of this stuff. Everybody knows it now. So it's like, the thing you're relearning now is hero balance, and it's the economy. And that is my biggest, number one wish for this patch was slower economy. And I just hope that the jungle does more than I think it does. Because otherwise it's still this like super upbeat, heroes get 6 slotted at 25, 30 minutes, the chorus that is. They get neutral items that are as strong as ever, which I was hoping would get nerfed significantly to slow down the pace. Because I'm an old man and I don't like fun.
Yeah, I think the terrain changes are definitely the bigger deal because I'm going to be perfectly honest. I haven't been enjoying playing Dota as much recently. I mean, that's not even a secret at all. I still enjoy casting, though. That's the thing. Like watching really high level, even if it's on the same patch, I was fine with it. It was great. This patch spices some things up for me. Like I'm going to be playing some new heroes, you know, revisiting some old ones. But I feel like pretty shortly, it's going to just feel like the old patch. Of course, could be horribly wrong because there's a lot of stuff that's really hard to predict. But overall,
do you
having
think I'm
that new map
underestimating
made a
the
big
jungle
deal.
change?
I went on a rant about how I didn't find it very important that the neutrals were
Yeah,
changed.
but just like, okay, your gut feel, like you've read a lot of the lines, like how much harder do you think it will be to farm the jungle for heroes? Like, is it a lot? Is the gold going to be a lot less for carries or cores in general? Or do you think it's like 10%?
Based on my very, very professional play so far, Sindarin, 5 games worth, I don't know
You've
how
played
much.
more than I have.
The gold amount did not seem any different to me.
Right.
And
That's
I was able to
also how I
kill
feel.
creeps relatively easily. Of course,
Right.
I don't play in a bracket where people are stacking a shit ton of creeps, so maybe it gets more hardcore. I just don't like the idea that the way that you buff them is add a bunch of abilities that you kind of have to know, but you don't really want to learn because am I just old? I don't want to
No,
learn.
I mean,
like
I
80
think that's fair.
abilities.
And I think there's like tons of ways of drawing gold out of the map, if you will. You can tweak like 100 different knobs to remove gold and experience from the game. It's super... Like, there's so many ways you can do it. You can make lane creeps less valuable. You can make jungle less valuable. You can make kills less valuable. You can change the formulas for how you level up. You can change the price of items, blah, blah, blah.
Like-
You can make neutral items worse. There's
You know
so
what
many things you
would've-
can slow the game down. We didn't do it.
I know
so.
this is such a small thing, but like I'm a big Doom player, and I would have been excited to see the Centaur creep get deleted, or at least the ability, because I don't see any reason why you would choose another ability on Doom. Like I miss the days where you could go the crit creep, the Alpha Wolf on Doom, and just play like right click carry. Right now, it's literally you get the Centaur Conqueror. If you don't do that, it's just usually incorrect.
You get the Purge creep in lane against Batrider, and you get the Ice Armor creep in lane
talking
against everything else.
After laning
Yeah.
stage, right? After laning
Yeah.
stage. So
It's largely just
it feels
Centaur
a
creep.
bit one-dimensional with that. I mean, again, it's just one example for one hero, but I was hoping that some of these abilities, maybe they're better than I think. It's possible, but
Yeah,
based on what we
I'm not
read.
blown away by any of the new auras. I agree. Nothing really...
Now, I will say, last thing from me for Doom, there's a talent to eat ancient creeps, which I never took before. Now, you can get 10% CDR, technically.
Yeah. For Devour.
Something to think about.
And As Doom, you can eat one of the Hellbears and then die and make your team strong.
Beautiful.
How about that? It's good on Clinks, though. I'm curious. Maybe it's busted.
It sounds busted.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, at the very least, just being honest, it's definitely spicing things up. I was really excited for this patch, and I'm not as excited now as I was hoping I would be. But quite a lot of the stuff sounds fun. Some of the stuff sounds bad. Overall, it's less than I'd hoped for. I don't know what I would rate this patch out of 10. Somewhere around the middle, probably. It's not terrible. It's not great.
Pick something.
5. Let's say 5.
5. Okay. I'll give it a 6.5. It's okay. I'm underwhelmed. It's not like I'm angry, but...
No. Same. I'm not angry, just disappointed.
Nothing new with you. Okay. I think that brings this epic episode of We Say Things to an end. God damn, that was long. My voice is killing me.
Yeah, that was a longer episode than I expected.
Yeah, because you were talking a lot. So... Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate Manscaped. Make sure to click the link in the description to help us out.
Click.
And until next time, Suns Fan and Cinderin signing out.
Bye.
Goodbye. We say things that don't mean anything.
Subscribe.
But thanks for listening. Yeah.